Me, 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 me.
You. Share, like, and subscribe. Get it out, folks.
Do you want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news? Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want. Damn, show what you need. I won't tell no lies. Back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's stuff.
Dude, I love this intro. I'm sorry. It doesn't get old.
No,
Hi,
it's
Matthew.
awesome.
It's Judge Janine, and I wanted to congratulate you on the Don't Unfriend Me show at the Dumb Show. I was thinking about that whole thing the other day when I thought it was right after Donald Trump was elected that everybody on the left started unfriending anyone on the right. So I'm glad you're calling them out. You've got a great name for the show. And I hope that you're true to the values, conservative values, Republican values, and that you call those people out. I think it's great. And I know you've got 135,000 followers. I hope you get a lot more. And just keep the faith. Keep fighting. I think we may get America back. But in the meantime, we've got a steep hill to climb. And you're one of the fighters, one of the patriots. So thank you for what you're doing.
You know, that
I
thing is
love
like
her.
it's like
I
2.5 weeks old, and
love
like
her.
we've gained 7,000 followers. Look at that. It's 142.
That's awesome.
She said 135. So we're on the precipice of 150,000, which that's insane. You know, it really is mightily insane. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Good to have everybody here. It's going to be an interesting show. Amy's wearing her Red Friday. I'm supporting the police department. Leroy is supporting himself because he's selfish.
I am. That I am.
Let's get to some chat. Let's get into it right away. Sorry I missed you last night. I am a little under the weather. My kids came home with the crud. Jason got it, and Katie got it. I think they gave it to me or somebody. I don't know what happened. Somebody.
I had it. It was. Ugh. I'm still not 100%. I feel human again, but I'm still not fully normal.
Yeah,
It was
I tried to
bad.
go
Kids are
lift.
basically just prepubescent petri dishes anyway. So
Completely. It's exactly right. I tried to go and lift, and body's like, you shall not lift. Like, all right, fine. Be that way.
not today.
Not today, Junior. Ain't gonna happen. Gonna have to go do something else, I think. Yeah, I just couldn't do it. I got to one rep, and I'm like, nope, no energy, can't do it. So, you know, it's fine. I'll suck it up. Let's get to some chat. We've got a lot of people in chat. I have a feeling it's going to be a good show. Twitter's blowing up. Absolutely insane to the membrane. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to go over there. But I was like, I'm going to boost a post.
I may have poked around a few things.
Yeah, I see you trolling it all the time. I love it, dude. I was like, I'm going to boost a post. So you guys remember that Jill and Joe Biden. Yeah, this isn't going to work. Jill and Joe Biden picture where, Kamala's husband's walking by and Joe has his arm around Jill, and Joe's looking back and Jill's looking back at Kamala's husband.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this, but it's a classic meme. This meme's been done billions of times. And it's sitting at like 70,000 views on Twitter, 4,200 likes. I mean, these are Facebook numbers for me, 520 retweets and 29 quotes, and at least 50 death threats, because people can't take, shit. I just hit 3,000 followers on Twitter. So that's pretty good considering it's been 2 months. It's been 2.5 months since Elon took over full joy, and 3,000 considering that I got 72 in 2 years. I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week. So stop on by Twitter. Folks, if you have not, also go by the Don't Unfriend Me website. Go to thedumbshow.com. You get a cool shirt that Amy's wearing. You can get one of the shirts like this. Get some hats, get some coffee. Everything over at the Don't Unfriend Me store is awesome. And here's the thing. I hated tchotchke stuff. Like, I grew up in that world. I grew up in retail. So we would go to Vegas every year for the game convention, and we would get some good stuff. Like, they would give us Nintendo Wii's or Xbox 360s, and it was awesome. It would, get games for free and stuff, and that was awesome. But a lot of the stuff you get in retail is all tchotchke crap. It's, keychains and freaking, foam fingers and, giant King Kong sized dongs. I mean, that was the Adult Expo.
Wait.
I'm sorry. We went during the same time as the Adult Expo. I apologize. Those were fun.
You say dong or a bong?
I said dong.
Yes.
The Adult Video Awards show, the AVN Awards, were in the hotel adjacent from us when we would go to Entertainment Expo for Game Crazy. And so when we got done at 8, 9 o'clock from playing the latest and greatest video games and talking to the big wigs and having SEAL Team rappel from the roof, and have a chopper coming in and landed on the roof, and having the SEALs come in and pop in smoke, which happened one year at the Mandalay Bay. Another one where we all dressed up as pimps, as the district managers, the vice presidents, whoever had the most pimpy outfits, with goldfish in their shoes and whatever. And we would play Rock Band, and whoever did the best won. We just did fun stuff. I loved it. It was great. It was an amazing company. But the point is, I don't buy cheap shit, and I don't sell cheap shit. I mean, that's really important to me. Everything on the site, I personally check, I personally own, I make sure it's good quality. And if it's not, it doesn't make the cut. So you can rest assured that if you buy something from the store, you're going to love it. It's just a guaranteed. As long as we get the size right and check, there's plenty of size charts. So, okay.
I can vouch for that because I own 3 or 4 shirts and a sweatshirt, and I love them all.
Yeah,
Yes.
same. I don't know how many shirts I have, but I have a few and love them all. My sweatshirt, I'm going to have to order like 100 more. I live in that sweatshirt. It is amazing. I love it.
Yeah. And Ashley, you need to get a picture of your shirt. That was one of the requirements for you to get your sweater, which I'm glad you got. I kept my word. Now it's time for a picture, Ashley. I mean,
I'm
come
still
on
waiting for the Don't Unfriend Me thong to come out,
Yeah.
because I will buy.
Yeah.
I will buy that.
You told me you wanted me to wear that for 3 days before sending it to you. So that's a premium, dude. That's $25 extra on OnlyFans. My OnlyFans site, I sell my thongs. So now that we've established that that's going to be the rumor, that was the rumor for the longest time. I swear to God, I would get that almost nightly. People are like, dude, I've heard you had an OnlyFans account. Can I get it? And I'm like, I don't know which troll I banned or which old listener who hates me. Yeah, but somebody started that rumor and it was hilarious. It's like, dude, what's your OnlyFans account? I'm like, are you kidding me? It's kind of like a guy going into a bar. The odds of you getting picked up are 1 in 100. But if you're a girl, the odds are 99 out of 100. No matter what you look like, you're going home with a guy if you want to. Same thing with OnlyFans. Nobody's looking for the guy. Dude, guys probably just get skipped over like, oh, please. Dick pic. Oh, geez. I mean, I don't speak from experience. I don't know. Do they even have guys on OnlyFans? I mean, I'm just talking out of my ass here. Amy, you visit the site frequently. Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a top member or whatever it is, that you can be. I don't know I don't forget what it's called, but I
I don't
have like
know.
all the ratings. I don't know. I've never been on it,
She's got
but
all the
I got
lingo
picked up.
down.
Well, someone tried to pick me up today at 7-Eleven, which was funny.
What?
Me too.
7-Eleven?
Me too.
Did they try to buy you a
7-Eleven.
Slurpee?
No, it was the weirdest exchange, and I was like, and it's funny because he was wearing a uniform shirt for the company he works for, which is a local company, and I know this company, and I'm like,
Name the company. Name the company.
no, I'm not gonna name the company,
Oh,
but
that
it's
sucks.
local
Okay.
because I
All
don't.
right.
But
Were
I
you in the
wanted to
energy
say to
drink
him,
aisle?
like,
Were you in the
if you're
energy
gonna hit
drink
on
aisle and he
something,
was like, "Wait, I've got a protein bar for you."
right, it's funny
Oh,
because
that's horrible.
I was buying a Red Bull.
No way.
That's all I got. Just wanted a Red Bull.
What can you do? Was it sugar free?
No, I know. I've cut out all of that crap lately, but like today I haven't slept.
Oh, it's got to
This
be
market's
killing you.
been nuts. So I've been going to bed at like midnight, getting up at 5 a.m. every day, and
Yeah.
I'm all like, so I had a Red Bull today before my first showing, because man, it's crazy. So yeah, it was just funny. But I was like, this dude is. I just wanted it to end, and he wouldn't stop. And I was like, I'm clearly not into you. And
See, that's when you
just
got to get your concealed carry but not have it concealed. Just do open carry. Nobody will ever screw with you again.
right, right,
Tell
So-
him
Yeah.
that you recently transitioned. See what he said.
right, yeah.
Right. It's like,
Ooh,
just
you
got my
think-
surgery.
right. Oh my
Just
gosh.
had my surgery.
Next time I'm saying that, like, oh, can you still see my Adam's apple?
By the can you see my Adam's apple? Folks, if you take a look up here on the screen, the chat's up here. What's nice is we now have a new feature. You can see the laugh comments, the tears. We got 40 people crying. Oh, why is everyone
Aw.
crying? What the hell's going on with that?
It's Leroy, and I
62
said
guys,
something else.
that hurts the feed, you know. When you guys do the tears stuff. Heart 62, 119 thumbs up. So if you want the site to do well, hearts, thumbs up, and laughs. Those do it. But don't do the tears. That doesn't help the. That doesn't.
That's
okay.
the leftist. Do I have a mug? To drink it out of?
So I got to read you guys a string that, you know what, I'm just going to share it. That's why I developed these amazing, cool, kick butt new cells for the site. If I could just get Leroy programmed in here effectively, now that would be something. If we only had a wheelbarrow, now that would be something. Why didn't you list that amongst our assets in the first place? All right. So,
I don't know.
You moved your head. That's great.
no more rhymes now. I mean it. Anybody want a peanut? You don't know what that is? Come on, Amy.
Princess Bride, man.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was, but when Leroy did the voice, that's what I
I
thought.
don't
it's
think that
hard.
movie
I-
is what you think it is.
You nailed it.
It's hard to bring my voice down to
Anybody
Andre
want a
the
peanut?
Giant level.
Oh,
I can't do it with my voice. My voices are shot today because of my.
You moved your head. That's great.
Yeah.
You moved your head. That's great. You are the Brute Squad.
I loved it.
Dude, I can do that movie backwards and forwards. Don't start with me. Seriously,
All
like
right.
pathetic.
Let's not get off track.
So this beam right here, this is the one. This one's just went global thermo explosive, which is great. All right, so I got to click into this here. So you guys got to see this. You got to see this guy. I hope he comes on. So I've got a couple clowns, right? The first one's like, because the name's Don't Unfriend Me, right? Or The Dumb Show. So what do I hear all the time? Of course, is, oh, you're the dumb show. And I'm like,
good one.
wow, dude. Sick burn.
That's
well done.
Exactly why when I tell people on, verbally, go ahead, give me a good old fuck you, Leroy, because it takes away all that power. Like, there's nothing they could say beyond that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to see it. You're going to see it right now, actually. Because this, I think, is fairly masterful. We're going to find out. You guys will tell me. You'll let me know. Matt, no, it's not. Here it is. So this person goes, I'll just block you instead. because the names don't unfriend me. And I'm like, okay. And I said, attention seekers rock. I wouldn't be able to respond if you did. I'm leaving, don't unfriend me. But first I'll post about leaving, don't unfriend me. Then I will stay to see what people say about me leaving, don't unfriend me. It's one of my favorite things to repost on people. Then this guy goes here and says, he goes, hold on. Gonna find it. Oh, he deleted it, little putz. So he goes, so I go, he goes, I don't block, I just mute. And I said, well, then why'd you say you blocked me? He's like, if you read above, I mute people because I still want to see what you idiot Republicans say. I said, oh, so I took a picture of where he said he blocked me. And I said, it's funny that I assumed you said blocked. I can see the confusion after you saying that you blocked me. And then he goes, well, that's the point, duh. And then, of course, my favorite, this guy meme, where I put after people who, if you see this meme, it means we're done. It means I'm done talking to you. I'm just like, this is what you are to me. And
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm just done talking to you. So, okay, now.
I'm 99% sure, just absolutely beyond convinced that the problem is that most of the far lefties, they have a problem with defining what a noun is, because they certainly can't. I'm going to block you, or I'm going to, do this. They can't ever stick to the terminology. They always have to change the shit that they say to cover their ass. It's so great.
Right. What I don't understand is why they think that this is okay. I learned a long time ago in this business that this is all good or bad is always good for business, right?
Mhm.
If people are trolling you, it's great. And if they're supporting you, it's also great. So I don't see, and if this guy was in the business for longer than 5 minutes, which he says he's a podcaster, I just said to him, dude, you've been doing this for 10 years. You haven't learned what I learned in the first, 3 months, that you can't react this way to people because it doesn't change anything. In fact, all I'm doing is laughing that you're boosting my algorithm and want you to continue posting. And you think you're a dumb son of a bitch. Yeah, great. Keep it coming, man. Keep it coming. So
Exactly.
This guy says Insol is his name. His name is Insol. Now, this is what looks like.
Oh.
I thought he was a magician. He's not a magician.
Oh.
Right. He's not a magician. Although he's in a crushed velvet. Looks like a Renaissance festival. I want to be fair. It's like a Freon or rayon.
Like the 4 non-blondes video where they're like on the swings. Do you know what I mean?
I think he looks like Little John, a gay Little John from Robin Hood. Rent Men in Tights. Right. Yeah.
Yes.
You don't pay no toes, you don't get no rolls. Right. That guy.
I made that up myself.
It's not exactly the Mississippi. I'm on the East Bank. I'm on the West Bank. Did you say Abe Lincoln? Master Robin, you've got boobs. Okay, stop it. Fuck off, Leroy. Stop distracting me from my story. God, that's all you got to do is do Mel Brooks.
Squirrel.
Yeah. That's it. Shiny thing. All right. So this guy, if you look behind him, this guy has a majestic harp. I know. I'm not kidding.
I thought it was a harp. Yeah. Okay.
He's got a full-fledged harp. So I kind of got concerned because I was like, well, maybe this guy's an angel.
Oh.
And I'm going to go to hell.
Chris Angel.
And my wife reminded me that that's probably going to happen anyway, so I got less scared. So this guy, this guy who has 11 followers and he follows 23 people, which is fine because, hey, man, I've been there. I get it. I've been there. He goes, barely veiled Trumpist fascist. I'm like, oh, come on. You can do better than this.
Kind of an oxymoron, isn't it?
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Right. So I put, show me on the doll where the meme hurt you.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then he says, Trump who? Well, now here's the funny thing when he says Trump who, because immediately I'm like, I'm going to go to his page. And this is where I don't even look at him. But every single post is about Trump, is about GOP sucks. Marjorie. So he knows who Trump is. He's just playing coy with me. Oh, what a clever little duper he is. And I say, you know, the guy you have posted about on your feed incessantly. And he goes, who's that? All right. So now that we've got that out of the way, this guy decides
probably looking for somebody that looks like Trump in his Grindr profile.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Right.
Looking for a giant orange man.
So then this guy comes in, RN45. So he's either the 45th registered nurse in the United States, or it has something to do with Trump. RN, what could it possibly be?
I saw that.
Re-elect now?
Too, by the way.
Re-elect now 45? Maybe that's what it is. So obviously this guy doesn't like Republicans. So he posts this. It's a little boy and a girl, and this kid's freaking out. I mean, freaking the fuck out right here. And it says conservatives. And there's a bucket and a rabbit. And it says things that don't happen. And so what it means is, for those of you who aren't picking up what this jackass is putting down. By the way, if you have to explain a meme, your meme sucks.
Right.
But
right.
I
well,
picked
the left
up on
can't
what
meme.
The left can't meme. They're horrible at it. So I'm like, all right, I'll bite. What it basically means is that conservatives overreact to things that are never going to happen. And what they're talking about is the balloon, right? We're overreacting. Exactly. I wonder how they feel now.
Right.
So this is what I say, since there's a little rabbit in the picture. I say, wrong party, man. We would shoot, skin, clean, cook, and eat the rabbit. You guys would give it a national holiday, protect it with billions of taxpayer dollars, and allow people to assign it as the 67th gender. He didn't come back.
Did you see the one that I put in there?
No, I didn't.
Because I followed your comment on there. I put something that was nasty, not nasty, but it was pretty brutal.
All right, well, let me get to it. So this guy goes, Erminsul says it would, if it would piss you off, yes, no doubt. Huh? And I said, as much as you going to the store to buy Birkenstocks would piss you off. No big deal. Speaking of upset, you won't stop posting. You must be fuming. And I put the triggered.
Yeah.
Put the triggered with a mustache on. He goes, you should probably lose the mustache. You look like Mortimer. Dude, did you just literally use a 2-year-old argument and say, what bounces off me sticks to you? Is that what he just, so I just put to him,
exactly.
Weak. I put weak. You suck at this, bro. He goes, I'm not the one who looks like my 6th grade teacher. And I said, that explains it. You're in 6th grade. Hence the, I know you are, but what am I defense?
Right.
This is child abuse and too easy. He says, I wouldn't advertise being a child abuser on social media. The screens have ears. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, Squire, because I looked at his picture. So I started making medieval references to him. So this is my reply. I said, so he goes, so did you make it to the Comic-Con cosplay this year? He says to me with this picture. What? And I'm like, he should have said SHOT Show, right? But I mean, I'm trying. And I said, boo, you are trying and losing famously. Try casting Magic Missile and roll a D20 for dexterity check. Look at the giant nerd trying to call me a nerd.
That's great.
He goes, seriously, is that the Bruce Willis Hollywood Patriot look? Dig it. Does your mic hang over the lazy boy? Now, the rest of what happened literally for the next 20 minutes is me browbeating this guy. He's a man for the next 20 some odd minutes. And the only reason I tell you is because I actually was having a good time with him, right? It wasn't too personal. Yeah. We were just screwing around. Yeah. He was coming at me. I was coming at him. And you know, it is what it is. And it's no big deal. I don't mind. Like, for instance, he goes, He goes, I say, oh, fuck. I just looked at your profile pic. Sorry, bro. A failed musician who decides to up his game by becoming a minstrel at the Renaissance Festival in Larkspur. You can't make this up, my liege.
Oh
So
God.
I'm just fucking brutalizing this guy, right? And he goes, as opposed to a nondescript rando with a dumb show. And I said, that show made more gold sovereigns in a day than you will in a fortnight, peasant. This is fucking gold.
Oh my God.
He goes, by the way, it's peasant, professor. And I said, mistakes happen. Just ask your parents. Sorry, parent.
Oh.
And then I put, sorry, parent. Your dad left. It's blatantly obvious. He then says, I'm thinking of starting a podcast. Should I call it the Dumbs Show or our Dumb Show or Warrior Twitter Cosplay? And I said, doesn't matter. Nobody will listen anyway. You're used to that, my lord. Remember, he's a failed musician.
Jesus.
So it goes on. And every time he comes, I'm just boom, just destroy. And I know when I'm winning, right? Because they start misspelling, and then he misspells a couple words. And then he goes, hey, just want to let you know, everyone, how much of a pussy the Dumb Show is. He muted me. And I'm like, what?
What?
I said, hey, bitch, I'm kicking your ass. Why would I mute you? This is the funnest time I've had all day. Keep it going. And so because he was getting his butt kicked, he then ghosts the replies because he doesn't have the fortitude just not to respond. He has to respond. He can't stop. So by saying you muted me, and then if he ghosts, it makes it look like I muted him, makes me look stupid. So this is what I've been dealing with all day. This is what I do when I'm sick.
Yeah. So underneath that one where you were replying, I was the one who replied right underneath yours. That Republicans are always portrayed as trigger happy, steak eating, muscle car owning, toxic Spartans. You got to pick an insult and stick to it. Everyone I know said that we should have popped that balloon like an adolescent Democrat zit. That was mine.
I didn't see it, dude, because I stay fairly well engaged with my audience, but I just pop smoke after that. So anyway. All right, let's get to the comments. That was a big warm up. I apologize that took so long. Let's get to everybody. So sorry everybody for taking so long, but sometimes it's just fun. It's fun to I don't know. It's fun to what the hell is going on? Why am I getting an update right here? Hold on, everybody. What the hell is going on with this? Showing my background.
Somebody's going to have to go to the other end of the compound and reboot the whole system.
No. It's not that. I just need to figure it out. I'm a little out of sorts. What the hell? Why isn't it showing my chat? What is going on? Okay, hold on. I got to figure it out.
You didn't say the magic word.
Oh my God. That guy, he drives me crazy. There it is. See, Leroy, I figured it out.
Sorry.
Sure. Michelle says, hello, y'all, watching from Louisiana. Dale, Chevelle, Sandra, good evening. She says hello to Mr. Matt, Mr. Leroy, Miss Amy, Mr. Alec, Mr. Lee, Miss Amy S., and everybody else. Congratulations. Hello. Hey, Amy Stamcombe, I sent you a hat, but I also included something else, too, because it was freaking Mel made me feel guilty. She's like, I sent in a picture to get a hat, Matt. I'm like, I know, I love it. And then Mel's like, you should get one for free for all the moderating you do. I'm like, okay, you know what? Thanks. I sent you in a little extra, Amy. So it's just a bag of coffee, half used, and with some wet grounds. But otherwise, it's okay. Ruth says hello from Michigan. Hello, Ruth. There's Amy. Tom Shin says hello from Northern Arizona. Chilly. Northern Arizona. Man, I am so sick of Virginia weather, Amy. I can't stand this shit anymore. Where's my snow?
I mean, well, today it was like 80 degrees during the day. I was sweating my ass off. And then it was like 20 an hour later. And I'm like, this is why I'm perpetually snotty. I can't get my voice back. This weather is horrible.
I got a half a cord of wood in the garage still. I'm going to have to go and take it underneath the house. I'm not going to be able to burn all the wood this year. I'm so pissed. I bought 2 cords. I'm like, I need 2 cords. I guess I didn't need 2 cords because Virginia, I'm ready to move. I'm so pissed. All right.
We're supposed
Ashley,
to go snow tubing in like a week and a half, and I'm
yeah,
like,
good luck.
Not
Where
with
you
no
gonna go?
snow, you're not.
Where you gonna go?
well,
Buffalo?
no, we're gonna go to the new place in Harper's Ferry.
Oh, that little snow maker placey place.
The new
Will you
place,
tell me
yeah.
when you go? Because we would like to intrude and invite ourselves.
Yeah, we're gonna go on my son's birthday, so February 20th. We are going at 11 o'clock.
Aw.
Come on
All right,
down.
we want to go too. I would love to go.
a
Are
holiday.
you gonna go tubing?
We're just gonna do the tubing, and then we're gonna just so he wanted to bring some friends for his birthday instead of like doing
Oh.
a big party this year. I was like, thank you, Jesus, for that.
Yeah.
He's getting
Maybe you can
older.
ask Jesus for some snow.
Yeah. I'm like, it's gonna be like 45 that day. So I'm like, it'll be hot snow tubing.
Be hot.
You'll be able
Damn
to snow
hot.
tube in t-shirts.
Right. It'll be like a slick, like slush. It'll be fun. Whatever.
Help you again? Yes.
Yeah, but come on. It's the 20th. Let's go. It's a Monday. It's a holiday.
All right. Well, we can say a little prayer that we can make this happen. Now if
China
sends up another balloon, are we going to cancel the trip out of fear that they might track you while you're on your tubing
Absolutely.
extravaganza?
I think everyone
Oh
should
my
be
gosh.
weays tinfoil hats right now.
I gotta send you guys
Dude,
this. It's funny.
We're gonna dive into it, Leroy. Hold on, let's say hi to everybody while you send this. Debbie says hello. Rhonda, hello. Debbie got a notification. That's good. Hi from Pennsylvania. Hello, Vicky. Hi, Joe. Hi, Susie. Carrie. Mitzi. Love the American Patriots. Thank you, Mitzi. Brenda. Hi, Matt. Hope you're feeling better. No, Brenda, I feel like caca. I mean, honestly, I do not feel.
Okie dokie, Dr. Jones, hold on to your potatoes.
I do not feel okie dokie at all in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, good evening, Cheryl, Melanie, Michelle, Kristen. Ordering some gear from the dumb store. Not sure if I should get another hoodie or t-shirt. Kristen, I think you should get whatever the hell you want. And if there's something you don't see, let me know, because I'm going to be trying to make some new stuff this weekend. Ross, hello. Ross says you convinced me to go shopping. Nice. What I love to hear. That's outstanding.
Hey, you shut your face! If we want to hear you talk, I will shove my arm up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet.
Ross, I don't know what my soundboard just did, but it didn't mean to do that, so I apologize very, very much. I'm sorry. Jeez,
Was
that's
that
kind of
from
brutal.
Shaft?
I think so. I don't remember what the sound bite's from. I don't know why it went off right now.
I'm sorry. I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
That's right, Ross. You can feel that way if you want. Ashley says, I've been waiting for my wedding photo shoot to take the picture in the hoodie. Hurry up and get married, damn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. I love that.
I need a watermark shirt with Jill kissing Kamala's husband. See, that's the thing, is I don't know if people would buy theme shirts. I thought about making the one with the balloon, and I was going to do Goodbye Moon.
Great.
Goodbye Moon. Put the Goodbye Moon book, but it'd be like Goodbye Balloon. I was going to do stuff like that. I just didn't know if people would buy that, but I guess they will.
Yeah.
I love that.
Don't worry about spending. Kay, good to see you.
I mean, I bought
God,
the Trump shirt with the cat that says "grab 'em," but I'm trashy. So.
Oh, see, I'll do that too. All right. Well, listen, everybody's on and everyone's saying hello. I'm trying to go through it as fast as I can. Calling the guy Willy Wonka, saying he looks like 1980s Prince. Jeez, we're way behind. Sorry, everybody. Hey, Alex. Jason, good to see you. If I missed your name, I'm sorry. We're just going to get caught up. Sue is on. All right. Al Johnson's back. Uh-oh. In other words, Chavasto.
Yeah.
Chavasto. Chav. Matt, send the wood to my house. That's highly inappropriate. Oh, the wood. Oh, I get it. Okay, sorry.
Wow, a short trip.
Come on, man.
After the last month, I've only noticed one day over 40, Tom says. Maybe you run into Tim Pool up at Harper's Ferry. That's where he lives and runs his podcast. Is that true?
Yeah, he's
Wait
in,
a second.
yeah, he
He's
lives
in West Virginia.
Wait, are
Tim
you
Yeah,
fucking
he's in
Pool
West
lives
kidding
in
me?
West Virginia.
You're
Yeah.
fucking kidding me.
No,
No,
he
he's
lives in
Timmy
West
that
Pool?
Virginia.
area.
He's opening up a coffee shop too somewhere there. I don't know
Yes.
where.
Dude, how am
Yeah.
I not getting a hold of this guy and saying, oh, dude, I had no idea. I
he's
could
like-
throw a rock at him. I live right next by. I'm 15 minutes away from Harper's
And he's
Ferry.
fantastic. Love the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little middle of the fence sometimes, but so am I. So I don't mind
Yeah.
that. I mean, he, you
Yeah.
know, and people are like, he doesn't give a hard hitting interview. He doesn't have to. He gets to sit there and ask the right questions. I like Tim Pool. I've always liked him. I'm going to reach out to him.
You
Like,
know,
dude, allergies.
When people do that, when they have those criticisms that, oh, he rides down the middle too much, or he doesn't ask enough hard hitting questions, you know, I mean, have you ever done one of these interviews? Because a lot of times, if you go too far off the rails, whoever it is that you're interviewing will have the tendency to just say, you know what, I'm out.
Right. Oh,
No,
well,
so you
what were
really
they?
have to play it careful with some of those. And I
How
really
did
like
that
his
go?
style.
How did that go? They do what? I'm out.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit,
Can I
I'm
get a
out.
witness?
All right then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Make sure to share it, folks. We're going to have a good time tonight. Evelyn says, Matt, as in you walk on me and rub your feet.
Ooh.
I don't sell mats on the website. Nope, I don't sell them.
Yeah.
Mel Lowe, properly spelling my name correctly, goes, Matt, get your mind out of the gutter. Yes, ma'am. Wow, I had no idea Tim Pool's in Harper's Ferry. That really
Yeah, he
that's
talks
a
about
good
going
thing.
to he talks about going to the casino all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Who's the guy that is always next to him that kind of looks hippie-ish? He's got the glasses, a little bit longer hair. Really smart guy.
don't know.
Who's on his show? That guy and I
Yeah.
will not get along
Yeah. I can
At
see
all.
that.
at fucking all. Like we won't get along, and not in the slightest. Like this guy would be like, "So I was wondering, Puffy, maybe you can go ahead and check my drawers and Pampers." Oh, snuffleupagens. I'm like, dude, fucking seriously, pull the stick out of your butt. I mean, I just, that guy kind of just comes off to me as he's super smart, but he reminds me of a guy I used to work with at Game Crazy called Mark Bunhashen.
Yeah.
Wicked, same hair, same glasses, everything. And Mark was smarter than everybody else, and Mark knew it. And that was Mark's problem, is that nobody else was fucking smart enough. And obviously, when you got a guy like that, you're just kind of like, well, I don't really want to engage with you. So he just, I don't know. And I come off that way maybe on the solo show, or I might come off that way sometimes on here. But when I have a guest, I don't play that game. I very much let the guest have their moments and have their time and let them say what they want to say, because honestly, it's so rare. Why not try that? So I would love to do something with him. Tim Pool, West Virginia.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know where I could find him on, I'm sure through MLS, but yeah, I think he lives not too far. I mean, he talks about going to Charlestown Casino all the time. I mean, when I say all the time, I don't listen to his show daily, but when I do listen, I feel like he mentions it in every show. So, I mean, he must live near Charlestown or Harper's Ferry or, somewhere.
That makes me want to move out of Virginia even more. What's up, Leroy? Sorry.
No, nothing. I was going to say, I know that he lives in the immediate area. He talks about it on the show all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Right. So, I mean, Charlestown, there's a lot of, I mean, some people say it has like a bad rap, but like Harper's Ferry has some beautiful, there's like multi-million-dollar mansions right on the water there at the Potomac. There's some beautiful homes. There's some great areas. Schools are getting so much better. They've gotten so much better in the last 5 years in Jefferson County there. Like, it's really, a lot of people from Loudoun have moved over to Charlestown and Harper's Ferry. So it's gotten a lot better.
Well, I'm gonna try to reach out and just I don't want to be on your show. I'm not interesting enough to be on your show, but love to grab a beer with him, and just say hey, or next time he goes down and starts some shit and starts recording some, eyewitness stuff, I would love to go and learn for a little bit from him. He's a millionaire. I mean,
You know,
or at least
honestly,
should be.
what
Yeah.
I could see a relationship developing where, I tell me if you think I'm out of bounds on this, but where he would say, "Hey, can you go and do an interview for me?" And then you show up as like one of those mic people on the road, out on the street, saying, "Hey, tell me what you think about this policy," and kind of have that back and forth with Mr. John Q. Public.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't be. By the way, Ashley, I got your comment. She goes, "They must be letting anyone on OnlyFans by now." Ashley, you and I both know you checked. Ashley, we know you checked. So let's stop pretending you didn't. Okay. I mean, we can sit here and wink, wink, but you know you checked. So stop it. Anyway, so there's that arrogance. I would think that would be beneath me. Not going on OnlyFans so Ashley could check my account, but doing interviews for Tim Pool. I'd be like, "Hey Tim, this is Matt." As you sit,
like
as you,
like
no, let me tell you what would happen. I'd be like, "Hey Tim, this is Matt out here in DC streets, going ahead and doing the street beat, and I've got somebody here with me." And Tim would be like, "That's great, Matt. Go ahead. Why don't you go ahead?" And I'd be like, "Great, thanks, Tim. This guy's completely fucking uninteresting and has no reason to be on the show, but I am really interesting, and you sent me out in the street to do a 5-minute segment when I would add hours of entertainment to your show, and I just want to say I'm underutilized, and I think you're a prick, and go fuck yourself." And then I'd drop the mic and I'd walk out. No, I don't want to do that. I want to sit up there and argue and debate. I want to have some conversations. No, I don't think I would do that. I would consider, now if he offers me $1.5 million a year, I mean, I would suck a golf ball through a freaking straw for $1.5 million a year. Could you see me doing that, going on the street and be like, "Come here, Dick, just shut up. Come here, I have a question for you." Just
No, I guess what I was envisioning was one of those pieces where when you interview people, you kind of get that back and forth going enough where you because you have a really, really amazing talent with using, facts and being able to debate that and kind of disarming people enough to realize that they're using emotional arguments to logical points. You're really good at that. And
I appreciate
I can
that.
see where one of those types of segments could go viral. That's all I meant by that.
So it would be really, really good to use my talents in a way that are completely not going to be seen, because I'm going to be interviewing people and asking them the question, "Hey, can you tell me what's one of the most important dates in American history?" And they're going to be like 2019 when COVID hit. And that's, I mean, I couldn't do, it's not me, it's them. Because I would just put down the mic and be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? How stupid are you?" I couldn't do it.
Point.
I don't know. I'd probably get my ass kicked. Let's be honest. But no, I appreciate, there was a lot of nice things you said in there that I don't know if I deserve. So I appreciate it. I just, like, if I would just want to just have a beer with the guy, it's like Eli is so busy right now. I don't want him to think that I'm trying to hang off of his coattails. I just want to see how he is, right? How are things going? Yeah. He's so he's on 3 fucking committees now. I mean, his star is on the rise. Yeah, Eli's on, I think, Department of Homeland Security, Border, and one other. So he's doing well. But I'd like to talk to Tim Pool for sure. Lee Houston says, "With your shirt off." No. Why are you guys always trying to get me naked? I don't understand this. This is a fantasy that you all. Maybe I should just put out a calendar, the "Don't Unfriend Me" calendar.
Ooh.
I would do that.
Right.
I would do that too, but I would be like
this.
I would not do it in a sexy way at all. I'd have to do something hilarious. So.
I would do fun stuff.
Yeah.
I would pose like Burt Reynolds on the shag carpet.
There it is. I do that. I would hold up my Glock with no hands.
Yeah,
that's one. I would get rid of my mic arm, and I would just have my mic. I'd just be like this and have my mic hanging. All good. I would put a coffee bag on there and just be like, 2 pounds right there in the same area. I do. She's great calendar. It'd be awesome. Let's do that. Yeah. Amy, you need to borrow Olivia's camera. Can you imagine, Jason? I'm gonna go over. We're gonna do a photo shoot at Matt's house. What are you guys doing? You guys just gonna do some gotcha shots? Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
The thing is, Jason
Why are
would just
you
wouldn't
taking
even
whipped
ask.
cream?
He would just be like, "Have a good time." He would go, "Do you need any extra lighting or
Right,
anything?"
he would. He'd be like, "Can I apply the whipped cream and cherry?" Don't worry, Jason. Don't bring the nuts. We've already got that under control.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Seriously, this is why nobody's watching right now. They're like, dude, we didn't sign up for this shit. There's only the most loyal fans. Everyone else is like, what the hell is this? It's Friday night. That's what it is. We do this on Friday. We like to relax. We're letting our hair down. Grow up.
Yeah. I mean,
If we
no,
can get
it's
one
a
damn
dummy
lefty
calendar.
in here, just one damn lefty to call in, it would be fantastic. What's the phone number?
Just have a lefty go. Well, Janet's here. Janet is wearing a cowgirl. Yeah. Holy crap, Janet. You're not too bad yourself. She goes, you are hot with 3 fireballs. Listen to that sexy voice.
All right, Janet.
Right. I'm going to do that calendar.
Talking to Leroy, obviously.
I don't think you thought, what, Amy? You can't do that. That's not nice.
Oh,
that's
it's Friday.
Get him out.
Friday.
Ready? Are you ready? Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Get the hell out of here. Don't be rude.
All right. So now
there
we've
you
had
go.
some
Amy
fun.
would pay to see a shirtless Leroy. There you go.
There you go. See?
And I'll get the shirt with like the man bod, like the dad bod, and the hairy man dad bod with like the money maker over top of it. Like
I read an article that said, and then we're going to get into our topics here, but I read an article that said that that dad bods are preferred by women, and I said I don't know.
I agree
about
with that.
Well, hold on a second. Jason does not have a dad bod, and neither do I.
He does now. I think he does.
No, he
now.
doesn't. He's still yoked. He may have a little tummy, but he's still yoked, man. He's got muscle.
Yeah,
Come on.
He's got muscles. I mean, he works out, but
he's got a little tummy. I got a little tummy, man. I'm a guy. I mean, what do you want? I mean, we're not like 6-pack anymore. We can't be.
No. I prefer him with, and this is going to sound crazy, but when I met him, I mean, I was like, I will never, ever take my clothes off in front of you, because he was so ripped. I was like, there's 100% zero chance I will ever let you see my body, because I'm a mom. I've had 2 kids, and he works out every day and had like a 12-pack and all the muscles and the he's all tatted up. So I was like, there's zero chance.
Amy's on the verge of needing to go excuse herself.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Okay, well, this is a little descriptive, but anyway, now that he's not.
I prefer him.
Like, can we take a time out, please? Holy shit!
Hairy.
I'm just saying. But now he's got like a little. Yeah, he does. He still has like his arm muscles, which I appreciate. But he's
okay. Enough about talking about Jason. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to steal him from you. I mean, I'm getting kind of worked up. I'm just like.
She's like, is it hot in here?
Is it just me? Holy moly. All right. So now that we've established that Jason is an Adonis, go ahead.
He was. Now he's a dad Adonis.
So, all right. This has nothing to do with the show, but I've been waiting to play this song. I'm going to do it right now, and then we're going to get into some topics. But now that we know Jason, dad bods are in. But here's the song that I wanted. Do me a favor. Leroy, mention something about the vaccines, please. And do it in theater. Go.
Mention something about the vaccines.
Oh my God, you're horrible. Amy, can you do it, please?
I don't know.
Ad lib.
I mean, there's been some new research out there.
Wait, research on what, Amy?
About the COVID vaccines, the Pfizer.
Vaccines? Do you mean?
Hiya, Pfizer.
Hi, Ben.
You got any extra shots?
Sure, Ben.
Sleeves up.
I'm a Pfizer girl in a COVID world. I'm the classic, mRNA-tastic, 95%. There's no argument. Got no contagion with my vaccination.
Come on, Pfizer, let's go party.
With a mask on.
Come on, Pfizer, let's go travel.
Only if essential. Oh, we're having so much fun.
We'll have to do this again for my second shot.
Oh, I love you, Ben.
So
that's
horrible.
great.
So good. All right.
Great.
So now that we've done that, listen, I ran across a video today. Yes, folks, now we're going to get into it. Some people are dropping like flies. They're like, what is this show? I thought we were talking about the drone. And then we're listening to the Barbie girl. We're hearing about Amy's erotic fascination with Jason's tattoo and his ripped body and his sweat glistening off of his body. And then we're talking about Leroy without a shirt, my OnlyFans page, and a naked calendar where I hang my Nike from my mic from my Johnson. What is this, Dr. Phil? Hi, you've reached Loveline.
Right.
Skinamax.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, I want to be real clear. I'm going to make a statement about this. America was built on slavery. Okay. That's fine. And I would even agree. But what you don't get to say is that's the only thing America was built on. Because America was built on yellow fever, too. America was built on the Great Depression. America was built on the Industrial Revolution. America was built on the cotton gin. America was built on the printing press. America was built on indoor plumbing, silicone chips, flight, and we can go on and on and on. Combustion engines, cathode ray tubes, and a whole bunch of white people, Irish people, Chinese people, and Latin people as well. So although it is a part of our history and we need to understand it and embrace it and teach it, it is not the only part of history. And because it's not being taught at the level that you like, doesn't mean, right, tobacco, another one, great one. Tobacco is a huge one. Just because your story isn't being told the way you want to, doesn't mean that systemically it's about racism versus time and convenience and the population of people that the teachers are talking to. Let's face it.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe that Black culture is undervalued and under taught in schools? Yes. Do I believe that teaching about slavery and teaching about innovation and poetry and music and the influence of Black people throughout history should be brought in, and that's not CRT? Yeah, absolutely. Because that's not what CRT is. CRT is I've said it before, is a very clever and convenient way for everyone to move the woke movement, this social awareness movement, this intersectionality movement into CRT. Everything's CRT. Everything the liberals do in school is CRT, and that's not true. Right. Critical race theory is a theory based on systemic racism throughout history of the United States, period, plain and simple, and it's a law theory that's taught in major institutions. Mm-hmm. But just like all gun owners are not, and Trump supporters aren't January 6ers, as myopic as the liberals can be, you must afford us to be myopic as well in our thought process that for convenience, we all call it CRT, because we don't have the fucking time to say transphobic, homophobic, racist, Islamophobic, 1619 woke project, social experiment, justice warrior, 69 gender. Okay, it's all CRT. So understand that I know what CRT is. Now that I've said all of that, I think reparations are a fucking crock. I think it is the dumbest idea ever because I ask one simple question. What are the point of reparations? Well, reparations is to fill the gap in the inequity that was portrayed and perpetrated on African Americans throughout U.S. history. Great. And then my next question is, will it forgive slavery and move the country forward where we will stop talking about racism? The answer is no. And I said, well, then no. Then reparations are stupid. Because if you can't be bought off and paid off, which I would be so ashamed of the African American people to say, yes, we can be bought off, then it's not worth it, because nobody can come to me and say, well, how do you feel about people in your family being chased out of Germany and be thrown into concentration camps? Well, I would tell you that money isn't going to make that better. But if there is a way to educate and to help disseminate this information to the masses and educate people, then I would feel better about it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a very long run up to what I'm just about ready to talk about. Now, this video.
Oh, is this the Disney video?
Yeah.
This is horrible.
I still have not seen this.
It's bad. You will cancel your Disney Plus subscription when you see this.
I want to be honest. First of all, I am a Disney guy.
Yeah.
I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with Disney. It's hundreds. There's no doubt in my mind. When I lived in California, but I was also making great money at Apple. But we had season passes. They cost us like $10,000 a year. We stayed at the hotels every trip. We would go once or twice a month, and it was $5,000 to $6,000 every time. We did that for 4 years.
Right.
My kids grew up at Disney. We have all the DVDs, all the dresses. I mean, all of it. We have spent, and we will never, and we don't try to. We don't go, oh, well, you know, it's Disney. We're not buying that. But if we can help it, we don't buy Disney anymore because I believe, just like a lot of African Americans or Latino or whatever, people should feel that Disney was not curtailing to them and their race and their culture. Well, I don't feel like they're doing that now with us. Every time I look at anything, it has to have some woke bullshit in it to check the box on equity. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry I'm going off tonight. And I promise you after we watch this, I'm going to shut up and let you guys go for as long as you want. There's a video game that I've been waiting to come out.
Oh, the Harry Potter one?
Yeah. And I've been waiting 5 years. I got this video game, the video sent to me by a friend who worked in the studio on the game, and he showed me what it looked like 5 years ago. My pants are still brown. And when I crapped my pants that night that I saw it, because I said, this is what I've been waiting for. Because whether you guys know it or not, I'm a huge video gamer. I don't get to do it as much as I used to, but once a year, once every 2 years, I come out of the woodwork and I play a big title game and I beat the shit out of it and I kill it. Well, Harry Potter, I've been waiting for 5 years. And I will tell you that this is hands down the best game that's ever been made. I'm in my 10th hour. There is nothing remotely close to it. From graphics to story to in-depth, there's just nothing like it. It is the best game that's ever been made. And I know that because I've played over 12,000 games in my life.
Okay.
It's the best. I can't begin to tell you. I haven't been bored 1 second. And I don't care who you are, even if you don't like Harry Potter. It's so freaking amazing. And it's the next level graphics that you feel like you're there. And as I'm watching this game, and I'm going, this is going to be a game of the year for sure. I'm almost positive. I can't imagine. There's a couple of other games that look really good, but this game is perfect. I mean, there's little mistakes, but it's that good. Is that it is a very diverse group of people in the game. You get to build your character however you want.
All right.
But there is an obvious transgender character in the game that's only in there for like 1 minute. And I knew it. And I'm like, this is a transgender character. And I didn't go, oh my God, it's a trans person. I said, man, they really found a way, no matter what they could do, to fuck J.K. Rowling over. Mm-hmm. It's the 1800s. And I'm sorry, but that just, in a magical wizarding world or not, it just didn't matter to me. And what I thought is, instead of saying, wow, trans rights, man, can you imagine? Would that really matter? Because in Harry Potter, they don't like mudbloods, which are people who are a non-pure blood magicians or witches. So there was obviously racism and there was, classism in there, and very similar to prejudices. And J.K. Rowling was fantastic at pointing those out. But instead of making it about black and white and transgender, not, she made it about wizards versus non-wizards and half-bloods and mudbloods and everything else. And she already tackled this topic. And I just said, this doesn't add to the story, but I didn't boycott and I wasn't upset. But this is the shit that dilutes the real message, and it changes the way people think, and it makes them resent instead of listening.
Exactly.
And this shuts down the narrative, because now I'm like, oh well, there's a transgender in the game. It's okay now. Everything's fine. Transphobia is now gone because this person's in the game. And so my point, and I'm so sorry, but my point is just like reparations. If it's not going to heal the problem, then why the fuck are you doing it? It's a waste of time. It is not about change. It used to be about bringing awareness to diversity and that there are different people in the world. That's been accomplished. Now it's about propaganda, and it's about let's go ahead and take over so we have the reins and we have the power. I'm going to show you this video. Amy's seen it. I've seen it. There's a lot of cringe, and I want you to take the cringe away, and I want you to listen to it and try to find the truth in it, because there is some truth in this video, but how it's portrayed comes off like an Al-Qaeda, ISIS, or Nazi recruiting video. It literally reminds me of some of the propaganda video that I've seen of terrorist groups over the seas, minus the cartoon. It reminds me of the United States Navy woke video recruiting the military. It's got that feeling. So let's watch it. I'm not trying to pump it up too much, but we got to watch it. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. All right. Enjoy.
This country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country.
Hold on. With video. Watch video. All right, here we go. Let me get Leroy in here so I can see his face, because I got to see this. I know it. Well, that's my face. I mean, we can deal with two of me, right?
I'll pop in a little bit closer then.
See how I did his voice? Wasn't that good?
It's perfect.
Thanks.
Keep talking, Leroy.
No. I was mimicking your voice. I was moving my lips. Anyway, okay.
Oh.
All right, here,
Awesome.
here we go. Enjoy this.
This country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country.
Tilled this land from sea to sea to sea. First it was rice, tobacco, sugar cane. Then Whitney did his thing and cotton became king.
And we were its soldiers,
4 million strong.
fighting for America's freedoms, even though we remained America's
Slaves built this country. The descendants of slaves continue to build it.
Slaves
built this country.
And we, the descendants of slaves in America, have earned reparations for their suffering.
And continue to earn reparations every moment we spend submerged in the systemic prejudice, racism, and white supremacy that America was founded with and still has not atoned for.
Slaves built this country. Not only field hands, but carpenters, masons,
Blacksmiths, musicians, inventors built cities from Jamestown to New Orleans to Banneker, Washington.
40 acres and a mule.
We'll take the 40 acres, keep the mule.
We made your families rich.
From the southern plantation heirs
To the northern bankers.
to the New England ship owners,
The founding fathers.
former presidents,
Current senators.
The Illuminati, the New World Order,
slaves built this country. We had Tubman,
Turner.
Frederick D.
Didn't they say Lincoln freed the slaves?
But slaves were men.
And women.
and only we can free ourselves. Emancipation is not freedom.
Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, public schools, feeding private prisons, where we become slaves again.
As we celebrate Juneteenth
For the umpteenth time.
our account is still outstanding. Cause this country was built on slavery, which means
Slaves built this country.
And we demand our 40 acres and a mule.
Bump that. You can keep the mule.
Keep the 40.
We're taking our freedom.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me breathe. Okay. Okay. Leroy, go.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, right? So basically, the narrative in cartoon form, which is a propos because, you know, it's meant to be kept in its most simplistic form for the most simplest of minds to digest. Okay. But really, when we unpack that, it's basically the statement that says that slaves built this country. White people got rich off of that fact. And because of that, white people, or all taxpayers now rather, owe reparations towards the descendants of everyone who is slaves.
Right.
Okay, that's the argument. Right. That's the argument. So now that we've established that, we can break that down. When you go back through the history books and you take into account how many people were brought here as slaves, that number in real life is around 400,000 people. Wrong, terrible, tragic, all of that. Absolutely. Far too many died on the way over here. Just too many, period. Right? Should have never happened. We get that. But at that point in history, slavery was being practiced on every continent, in every country around the world. So it's not that we're saying that it shouldn't have happened, because clearly it shouldn't have. But what we should really kind of at least start the dialogue with is which countries abolished slavery first. Great Britain being the first. Now, the United States, I think, was either second or third. Now, moving past that.
Second.
Okay, we were second. Now, again, that number was 400,000 that were brought over here. If the United States was that terrible, since slavery had ended, something like 4 million people have immigrated here. It's beyond that now. I think it's closer to 6 million. Have come over, have immigrated to the United States from the African continent. Now, that's a lot of people to kind of pull out the threads and figure out which ones were slaves and which ones weren't. Further complicating matters, even the word slave, the root word is Slav, because the Slavs were the first slaves. So how do we further pull that apart? So there's a lot going on there. How are we going to figure out who pays, who were the victims in the past? Because if that's the case, my bet is something like 99% of all Americans have relatives in their past that were slaves.
Before Amy goes, that's true. But shouldn't we even have the conversation? Should reparations even be discussed before how would we do it?
No. I mean,
but
I don't think
we know it's systematically impossible to be equitable, because some people are going to, we know that, but should it even be done in the first place? But Amy, go ahead. I would love to hear your thoughts.
I mean, we've talked about this before. It's been a while, but we have addressed this. And I think we all agreed that none of us feel that reparations, if they were to ever be paid by anybody, it would not solve the perceived problems. I mean, I feel like every time we try to right a wrong in this country, it falls on deaf ears, and then it's just, well, we want more. And going back to paying reparations, wouldn't that fall under the people who actually sold their people? They should be the ones to pay the reparations, which came largely from Africa, some of the Caribbean islands. Like they didn't all come from one place. And again, they were not all one ethnicity or skin color. There was a diverse group. Right. That's my point. So
Chinese, Irish, Native Americans, French, Creoles. I mean, Slovakians. He even said it. You had French in Native Americans. I mean, their slavery was not just one race of people. Yes, it was predominantly African American. That's African. But go ahead, Ames.
My point is, and they put this in this particular video, and this is why I'm going to bring it up, not because I agree with this anyway, but this was in that video. They had about, the segregation, colored here, whites here. That was in the video. But in our country currently, they are trying to segregate us again. And it's not, the quote unquote white people who are wanting the segregation. We don't want to be segregated. We don't want to be different or apart from our people as a nation. But we are seeing schools divide. You are seeing, white people being excluded from places. And if you're not, and it's not just white people, it's even people who are Black, who are not dark enough skin color, they're being prejudiced against because they're not Black enough. And I've seen it happen personally of people that I do know, and and those people are in a very tricky spot because they do identify as a Black person, and they're not accepted by their own community. And I can't imagine what their feeling is and what they're walking through. But I don't know, the video to me is complete absolute, it's horrible. And to replace, it bothers me to replace Mount Rushmore with the imagery they had up. And I'm not trying to discount anyone who achieves something in any culture. I appreciate every person who has given our country that leg up, who has one upped, but it's not just whites and it's not just Blacks. There are tons of other races and ethnicities. And why can't we celebrate all of it? And why do we have to put one culture, one skin color? Why do we have to put one group of people down and say they're the bad people?
Right.
It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything.
There's a couple things here. Is people were saying, well, there were reparations paid to Japanese Americans. Yeah, and there's still Japanese Americans who are alive who were put into internment camps. Native Americans,
also,
go ahead.
I was going to say also to a lot of Holocaust survivors, they were paid reparations.
And Native Americans, some of them were paid reparations as well because they still have families who are alive. Now, does that mean that just because African Americans had the unfortunate occurrence that they have relatives who are dead, that they don't get anything? Well, I don't agree necessarily with reparations for all Japanese Americans, and I don't think I agree with reparations for all Native Americans, and I don't believe reparations for all Holocaust survivors is necessary either. I think if people have a grievance against the government, they should petition the government for what they feel is appropriate to make them whole based upon the government's actions. And if in a court of law the government is found to be guilty in this, then as they would more than likely in Native American situations and Japanese internment camps, which they were, so therefore they had to pay. So, fine. But once again, the question comes down to, will this stop racism in the country? Will everyone forgive and move on? And the answer is no. So I don't find it to be something that needs to be a topic of conversation in any way, shape, or form, because it's throwing money at a problem that it will not solve. And once that, here's the best analogy I can get. I wanted to be a district manager for big box companies, and I was always the guy that's working behind the counter or mopping the floor or serving the food, and I would see the DM come in all clean and their press shirts and their fucking car and laptops, and I'm like, I want that life. That's the greatest life in the world. Well, right. I got that life. And after 2 weeks, I had the laptop and I had the Jeep and I had the freaking press clothes. And I realized that this fucking job sucks and it's a lot of work too. Yeah. It once the money comes and you've got the donkey and the 40 acres in today's dollar amount, then what? And then we're on to the next thing, and it won't be enough. And that well will be run dry. And what will happen is that there will be dissension and there will be anger, and African-American population will say, we're not satisfied. We're not happy. We still have problems with prisons. We still have problems with the inner city. And then whites will say, why can't you just shut up and be happy with your money? Because that's the fucking attitude that a lot of white people will have. because we paid you to shut up. So shut up. And if you think that that's not going to be white people's attitude, you have no idea about honesty. And then what you're going to have is you're going to have racial tension, and you're going to have the same problems that you have right now, where one feels that they were never taken care of and another who feels that they're morally superior because they weren't alive. There is a happy medium here. The United States government has never formally apologized for slavery. Never. It's never happened. The United States government has never taken ownership for it. They should. And they should do it on the 1st of February. And there should be a declaration written, and the United States government, the office of the presidency, not Joe Biden, because that guy apologizing for racism is like fucking Pee Wee Herman apologizing for chronic masturbation problems.
Right.
But come out and say, here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3, and here's what we are willing to do in order to try to make this whole, because that would be the right thing to do. Now, some people will say, well, civil rights, made up for this, or the original Emancipation Proclamation, or, equity-based programs. No, it doesn't. Just like reparations won't make up for it. It's like welfare check. Mm-hmm. What will make up for it is acknowledgement and ask for forgiveness. Because that's what you do to absolve a sin. And it doesn't have to be from the current senators and congressmen, and it needs to be from the United States government. And that is the right. Japanese got an apology. Native Americans have had a formal apology. Mm-hmm. Holocaust survivors. And that is what needs to happen. And then if it's, I'm holding my hand out and I want money, well, then you need to go and prove that in the court of law that the United States government somehow has impacted you in a way that you have not had the same opportunity as everyone else, based on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, based upon slavery and what happened 400 years ago up until 75 years ago in some way, form, or another, and prove that there is some systemic racist law out there that's stopping you from pursuing the American dream. And if you can't, then it's time to move on. All right, there. I said my piece.
I have 15 seconds. Because I wanted to answer that. Reparations at this point in time, more than anything else, just the topic of it, divides more than it unifies. And the problem is, here's the problem, is that if you were to take a percentage, and this doesn't matter, I'm not saying this is just for Black people. I'm not saying it's just for Chinese people. I'm saying that there is a percentage of every culture, every race, every sex. There is a percentage of people out there who would look at this, at reparations, as if it is, how can I put this? They would take the paycheck before they would take the opportunity to be free. There is a percentage of people that are out there like that. And this country is not founded on the idea of, here's a paycheck. This country was founded on the idea of opportunity.
Correct.
And that's the problem, is that there's too many people that would be willing to prioritize the paycheck in front of their own opportunities.
Yeah, totally agree.
Just to finish my thought, and then Amy, I'm going to kick it over to you if it's okay.
Yeah.
Don't be sorry. Roughly 2% of the population, 620,000 men died. If you want reparations for the 400,000, or is it going to be the 4 million who are also born in this state and subsequently, born in this country and subsequently freed? You would probably have to start at the 400,000 from there. And then obviously the 4 million that derived from having children and et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So I want you to go ahead and tell me what the lives are worth of those men who fought for freedom and to abolish slavery, the people who truly put the blood and soiled the earth with their blood, not Abraham Lincoln, but the people who died for you. What was their lives worth? And do their families get reparations? And should we just go ahead and say death equals this a dollar amount?
Right.
And trials and tribulations equal this dollar amount, and all both are horrific, we would think we would say death is more severe. And yes, slaves died too completely, but not as many that died in the Civil War.
Right.
And let's go ahead and run 2 tape totals, and then whoever comes out in the lead gets the check. And then we'll divide that by ancestors of white people, black people, Irish, Chinese, French, Huguenot, Creole, and everybody else. And everybody in America will get 12 cents.
Right. If you're
and
lucky.
Then we can all shut the fuck up about this and just move on and realize it was a horrible and tragic event, and we have all been paying for it. It's time to let this shit go and realize that it doesn't matter what color you are. You have hardships in life, that there are roadblocks, and it's going to be based upon all sorts of different variables that are uncontrollable because people are unique, and therefore every single interaction will remain the same, unique. And some will be good and some will be bad. And it's you hope that there's more good and bad in the end. Go ahead, Amy.
I mean, I really agree with what you're saying about the government making a formal apology. And the reason I think it makes so much sense to have that is because whenever you get in an argument with someone and that person is wrong, you don't need them to say like, well, I'll give you this to make up for it. You need them to go, yeah, what I did was awful. I acknowledge that. No excuse, absolutely horrible. And I'm sorry, and it will not happen again. And you make that change, right? Like that's the whole point of taking acknowledgement and ownership, is that you're not going to have that happen again. I'm fairly confident in saying that I do not think slavery will ever be prevalent in our nation ever again. At least I hope to God it's not. What gosh, I hate that video so much. I keep thinking like when they were I just keep thinking about things. It's like when they were talking about the Civil War and, all the blacks who died and gave their life. Well, Matt and I live in a Civil War. I mean, the war was fought here. You can literally find relics anywhere. There's so many
backyard.
Yeah.
Our backyard, Civil War battles happen right
100%.
across the stream. That's 60 yards from my house.
Yeah. Everywhere. And to discount the men and women who, and I know a lot about our history here, so I can say, look, I can say this street here, that was owned by this particular group of this religious group, because most of them were segregated by religious groups back in the Civil War. And this street allowed, soldiers to live there, and they took refuge. And then these women over here in this part of town, they formed their own alliance to help the soldiers, and they'd had to do it in secret because where we lived was divided. We used to be a part of West Virginia. Loudoun County separated itself from West Virginia because we did not agree with, we didn't believe in slavery. We wanted to free the slaves here. So that's how we divided. So it was extremely volatile where we lived. It's so deep in history. I can't tell you the amount of small armies that were developed, the horses and the men who made their own small armies by themselves, not affiliated with either side, to do what was right and save the people who needed to be saved, taken wounded soldiers who were fighting for the right side, which was obviously to free the slaves, and to help, give food, shelter, help restock and replenish their weapons. Like it's there's some people who gave their lives here, and there were so many colors who lived here at the time. There was the Quakers. They were like they were hugely involved where we live specifically. And, literally my old town that I lived in, Waterford, was one of the first towns to allow freed slaves to own homes. Even before it was legal, they allowed it. So it's hard for me to say where we come from, especially in a place where we don't believe in racism. I don't find it to be prevalent where we live here and now. And I don't think it ever has been. And it's hard for me to say, yeah, give money to this group. But these people who also had family that gave their lives, who saved people, who literally risked their lives, their families, their homes, everything they had to help keep these people safe and give them refuge. They don't deserve even an acknowledgement or like a thanks. Like, you should pay for already helping and already doing the right thing. It's hard for me to do that. And I wasn't born here, and I don't have a real connection, but I do live here now, and I have done a deep dive into our history, and it's hard for me to, I'm sure there's other places like here in our country that were just, this is where the war was fought. I don't know. It bothers me so much. It just really does. It bothers me.
There's a really, really clever quote out there, and I think it was done by Walter Williams, who said something to the effect that reparations is about taking money currently from people who do not own slaves and giving that money to people currently who are not slaves.
Right.
And so I don't know the exact quote. If one of the dummies can look it up and throw it in the chat, it would be really helpful.
That's pretty much it, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and I Shapiro said something very similar, and it may well have been him who said it.
I'm gonna find that.
It's exactly what you said. It's just just a few prepositions shy. It comes down to a very simple point. And I'm going to say this, and this isn't going to be popular. If a few $1,000s will heal your soul from slavery, then one of two things is true. That you have no earthly comprehension of what slavery really was, or it wasn't that bad.
It was loud. Is it windy?
I'm going to say it again because Amy's not there and Leroy's writing something down. Can we pay attention for a second? Because I'm going to say this is going to be controversial. One of two things is true if you take a few $1,000s per person. Is one, that you have no earthly idea how bad slavery truly was to the people who went through it. And two, slavery wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
One of those two.
Yep.
That's really what it comes down to. That's exactly I know
what it boils down to.
Jewish Americans, there's no fucking way that they could absolve the Holocaust, and money would never heal that. They're just because the people who it ultimately impacted are not the ones who are going to receive it. It's going to be people who believe that they deserve something that their ancestors earned. And I've said it before. Well, then let's go back to Christians being thrown into pits with lions. And let me go after Rome and Italy and ask them to pay taxes against that. I would like to go after the Moors. I'd like to go after the Persians. I'd like to go after the Native Americans who killed white people when we got here, and we were victims. You can say anything you want, but what it comes down to is you don't absolve sin by paying a tax.
Right.
Exactly.
You absolve sin by repenting and asking for forgiveness and never fucking doing it again. We've done half of it.
Right.
Go ahead.
I mean, I absolutely agree with that statement. To try to relate to this on a personal level, you could put me in a victim class, and I will tell you that I would not take money. There's no money that would be to make me whole, right? And I don't need personally. I don't need an apology either. I just want to be allowed to live my life and to thrive and to do what's best for me and my family. That's all I want, and I think that I'm working towards that, obviously. And I think that's a mindset, and I don't think everyone has that mindset. And it's sad, and I think it goes back to failing our kids and teaching them that, hey, if someone hurts you or wrongs you, they got to pay you money so you can feel whole again. Feeling whole starts with yourself, not from getting something else from somebody else. You have to feel whole because of yourself.
The way you worded it almost sounds like if God forbid, if we ever did get around to some sort of reparations, it would almost have cheapened the sin.
Yes, Absolutely,
know?
100%. Yes, like how much is a life
Gross.
worth? What,
Right.
$2,000, $4,000, $500,000, $1
That's
million?
what you're willing to sell out
Like,
your history
like,
for. Yeah.
yeah. So you're willing to give up. I don't care what the dollar amount is. You're 100% right. It is.
Yeah.
It's you're buying you're selling yourself. Like, have more value in your own life. I say it all the time. Just have better standards for yourself. I don't know. It's just want better for yourself.
The whole
There was
40
a-
acre real quickly, hold on. The whole
Go ahead.
40 acres and a mule thing is just like the 4/5 compromise, right?
Hmm.
That's what it was, 4/5, right?
Yep.
Leroy?
So
Yeah,
I think it is. Yeah.
That's correct.
Where people
3/5.
are saying that after it was 3/5 compromise. Thank you. Sorry, the 3/5 compromise. A lot of African Americans, CRT, okay, not the critical 1419 project. That's more accurate. Says
16.
that there's 16. I'm so
numbers are-
airheaded, guys. No, it isn't. Not with me because I don't fuck up on numbers, guys. I don't. I'm
Sure,
tired.
your
My head is. I'm in Balloon City. Literally, I better not get shot down. Oh wait, I'm in the United States. That won't happen. So, so 1619 project. Thanks for keeping me. 1619 project says 3/5 compromise was inherently that African American people are only worth 3/5 of a person, and that's not what it fucking says. In no way, shape, or form does the 3/5 compromise say that. What it says is because the South was going to get 4 million voters, which essentially would then exceed the North. And the end of the Civil War would simply start again because the South would be in power by having 4 million black votes and put their thumb on those black families to vote accordingly or else, which still happened in the South even after the Emancipation Proclamation. It wasn't until, I believe, 1865 until we truly saw the freedoms that were promised, or at least the beginning stasis of that. 3/5 compromise was created that the votes would count as not a full vote in order to make the start of this new country and this new voting system with all the people in it, this melting pot, this amalgamation of people, would be equal between the North and South, so we wouldn't be projected in the Civil War again in a few years. That's what it was about. But people say, oh, it was all about, same thing with 40 acres and a mule. It was a wartime initiative. It was a declarative statement. It was not instituted by Congress. It was not instituted and ratified. It wasn't voted on. Yes, it was a shitty thing to do. Yes, Sherman should absolutely owe that. But here's the thing. Are you owed hundreds of thousands of dollars for a hardship that you didn't go through?
Right.
But since this truly was about slave labor versus paid labor, fine. Why don't we go ahead and pay reparations for the salaries, the average working salary that a plantation hand would get? And all you have to do is provide the years worked and the hours worked every day, and you'll get back pay. That is impossible.
Right? Are you going to subtract for room and board?
Right.
I'm just being
Okay.
funny.
See, no. That was horrible. But that's the point. Do you see how stupid this
right.
sounds? Because there
yeah.
is no way to do this. And when you have a blank check, and I'm not being facetious, I'm just telling you that's impossible. And so is going back and saying put a dollar amount on slavery. It would be just as difficult to put a dollar amount on what you worked. My point is that there is no way to make this equitable. The only thing we can do to make people whole is to change the way you feel about white people and have white people change the way they feel about black people and acknowledge the middle ground that needs to take place. Otherwise, this is all about power, just like third wave feminism, just like homosexuality versus being heterosexual, just like Muslim versus Christian. It's all about who's in power. It has nothing to do with what's wrong, right or wrong, because if you look at reverse racism today, it's about power. This has nothing to do with equality. It has to do with a transfer of power, just like all the other movements out there. And I know that's hard as a white male Christian to say, well, I've had my time in the limelight being a man and being white, But you guys need to all understand now and just get over it. Well, that's fucking pretty horrible. I get it. But guess what? That's the only way we move forward, because if everyone is always going to pay for your sins, then African Americans are going to have a laundry list of sins that they're going to have to atone for in 100 years, because that transfer of power, we know what happens when men get it. It's corrupt. And that's what happened back then, and it will happen in the future. Leroy, I'm sorry how long that was. Go ahead.
No, I didn't really. So one of the great things about social media in the last 6 months is that in all of my feeds, I'm seeing just more and more and more right-leaning channels. And somebody I came across, this was day before yesterday, was a black gentleman, and I was just actually looking for him in my feed. And as I was scrolling through it, and I liked it at the time, I was going to try and find it and send it to you, Matt, real quick, because his explanation was perfect. Here is a gentleman of African descent, right, in America today, and he's basically saying, I don't want reparations.
Oh, I remember. I saw this.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, and he was basically saying, the American people don't owe me anything. I owe my ancestors for the troubles that they went through, for the oppression that they went through, and the way to honor that is to work my ass off and become as much as I can to aid, to help other people. That was his idea, and I thought to myself, that's brilliant. It was brilliant. Yeah. And I was looking for the post, but I couldn't find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a chance to see it, and it was fantastic. I just, but see, here's the thing: is it shouldn't take a black man who has no earthly idea what slavery felt like back then to be the only person who says it. I get that all the time. You're white. What do you know about it? Well, you know what? That is just the most immaterial argument. My only sin. It's like what they tried to do with Matt Walsh the other day. And they tried to say, they're like, are you a doctor? And he's like, no, I'm not a doctor. However, I'm a purveyor of history, and I read and I understand, and I use the public forum to go ahead and educate myself. And I'm using my God-given right to have an opinion. But that's like saying, because I get that from people all the time. They're like, well, we're going to talk about the drone next. They're like, how do you know? I say, I don't. That's why I say I don't know. That's why I say this is a first reaction in the fog of war, and it's probably going to be incorrect. But here's my first thoughts. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that. And all I can do is stand on my credibility. All I can do is stand on my past and say, well, look at my results. Are the results, do they line up with your expectations of someone who is mostly right? Do I have a 95% win rate? And if I do, well, then maybe you should listen to me. And if you don't like who I am, you don't like what I say, and you think I'm a cosplaying Bruce Willis recliner sitter, well, then you don't have to listen to me. But if you're looking for information that's true and honest and just upfront, well, then here it is. But I don't have to be black to understand that slavery was wrong.
Right.
Exactly.
I need to be black to understand what a black person goes through, which is impossible. So I'll never understand that. But I don't need to be black. I don't need to be a Jew to understand that the Holocaust was horrible. I don't need to be a Native American to understand what happened to the Native American people was horrible. That's ridiculous. You can literally just have a conversation with somebody from World War II, and you may not understand what they went through and what shell shock was in PTS today, but you can have a feeling of how terrible it was, and at least put yourself in this situation to understand that what they went through was tumultuous, destructive, and had a lifelong impact on them. That's not hard to do. So when people say that, you don't know what it's like to be me. No, and I never will, and that's an unreasonable expectation for you to have, to dismiss me. But if I can't put myself in your shoes and at least demonstrate empathy of what you went through, then that is lacking a human quality, and that's part of the problem. I feel for what people went through in the past. I feel bad for the people who blazed the Oregon Trail. I feel bad for Pilgrims. I feel bad for the Inuit people. I feel bad for the Mohicans. I feel bad for the Johnsons who lost everything during COVID. The difference is that I try to work the problem and not the emotion. Exactly. And you have to do the same thing with slavery and reparations. You've got to work the problem and let the emotion come out of it. Go ahead. Anybody who wants to wrap this one up?
Go ahead, Leroy.
I didn't really have anything else to add to that.
Yeah,
well, then there you go.
Yeah,
good topic.
Yeah, great.
All right. Next thing we're going to dive into.
Congrats.
What did you say?
So we saw reparations. Congrats.
Well, I think if you asked every single African American what they want, I can't speak for everyone, but as a collective, if there was a poll, I think if you said, what do you want from America? And I think every African American would say the same thing that every white American would say, that brown American would say, yellow American would say. I want my kids to have a better life than I did. Yep. I think that's a fair statement. That's probably going to be the most consistent. And if that's the case, then reparations isn't going to necessarily fix that problem.
Correct.
What's going to fix that problem is that we have some very serious problems that are not systemic, but are statewide, private industry-wide, specifically healthcare and prisons, that are slanted in a way to not help and facilitate health and wellness, mental and physical wellness, or rehabilitate. They are designed to make better criminals or people who die quicker. And that needs to change. And it also needs to change for the elderly. It needs to change for the poor. It needs to change for veterans. It's not just Black people who suffer from inequitable and financial disparity in the health industry and the prison system. This isn't a black or white thing. It's a poor and rich thing. And that's where capitalism fails, is it allows 50% of the citizenry to suffer worse than the other 50%. And that's capitalism. But it could be socialism, where 97% fail and suffer and 3% excel. And it's the best system we got. So until we can come up with something that's better than fucking Maoism, we got capitalism. And we've got to figure out how to balance and bring a little bit of maybe progressive and social policies in when it comes to the heart. Not fucking be a bleeding heart. Maybe we go ahead and cut a little bit here and there and find a way to be a little bit more socially aware of people, where we're not Switzerland or we're not Canada, but we could find something in between so we can start innovating personal growth. Because all we do is worry about financial growth or education, but we don't necessarily invest in people's spiritual growth or invest in people's health. And those are the things that are going to be necessary in order for us to get out of this hole, is to find a way to help lift that 50% which is left behind with capitalism. And it is. And it's just a fact. And anyone who's a capitalist knows this is true. Yes, they have the same ability, but there is a generational issue where there's some people who have a hell of a lot harder time of getting out of the Sutter because of that they didn't start the race faster than anyone else. And that's the one thing that's unfortunate, but it's true. Leroy, do you want to challenge that one?
I do, because I guess I would just ask you to clarify your last set of comments. As I understand it, there isn't a system that has ever been created, exercised, conceived of, that doesn't distribute equity, that doesn't distribute, not equity, monies, right, in an unequal fashion. And because capitalism rewards someone based on their merit in front of any social, what color they are, what sex they are, it rewards someone based on their merit instead of anything else. that seems like a system that we should be striving for. And I would agree with you that even capitalism eventually, if taken too far, puts too much capital in the hands of a very few.
Mm-hmm.
But that same inequality also occurs in literally every other type of monetary system. And so I guess
what's
I
your
would
question?
challenge you a little bit.
First of all, we have a caller. We'll get to you in just
Sure.
1 second. What you said? What's your question? You went on forever.
Well,
What's your question?
Well, I'm sorry. It just sounded like you were.
No, don't play that. It sounded like. Just tell me.
No,
ask
I'm
me what
trying
you
to-
want to ask me.
Did it?
Don't fucking.
I want to
don't
make
try
sure that I was
soften the
understanding
blow.
it correctly.
Just fucking say
No.
it.
Were you basically knocking
You are
a
fake
little bit on
news.
capitalism?
What?
Were you basically knocking a little bit on capitalism?
You're fired.
Yeah, I was. Yes, I am knocking a little bit on capitalism. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
You wanted to ask me a question and you finally got to it. Thank you for asking. You've done this before. You think equity is handing out something that's undeserving. That's not what I'm saying. There's financial equity, and then there's equity, equal portions of everything. Emotions, love. One is unachievable. The other is achievable with hard work and determination, right? That's equity, financial equity. It's that I am going to go ahead and have the same opportunity as everyone else to go and excel. If that was the case, then I would agree with you. But that's not the case. Hold on. Somebody growing up in Lompoc, California, or Watts does not have the same abilities on the starting jump to be as successful as somebody from Ventura, California, who's white like me. I know this because that's where I grew up. And I saw the options for my black and Mexican friends was to join the fucking military or go work in the restaurant industry, work for their parents, and a couple of other mediocre things where I had more opportunity. Now, does that mean that I owe them something? Fuck no. I don't owe them anything. But as a society, if we were a business, Leroy, would you be okay with 50% profit loss every single year?
Hell no.
But
Then you can't be okay. Hold on, I'm going to
But you'd
connect
have
it
to
right
connect
now.
those two dots. Yeah.
I am going to connect it for you right now. Because capitalism is a monetary system. It's a KPI indicator. It's a performance indicator, capitalism is. You say based upon merit, which is X, and Y is reward. You do so much merit, you get so much reward. But if a person works 40 hours and makes $150,000, and if a person works 60 hours and makes $40,000, X and Y are not the only variables. You then have to introduce something like, well, that person flips hamburgers and that person goes ahead and sells silicone components to Fortune 500s. So it's not meritocracy. It's based upon value.
Correct.
And if you're going to enter value into the capitalism conversation, then you have perception. And with perception comes inequity. And if you're going to solve capitalism and make it a better system, not that it's not the best system on the planet, because it is.
Right.
But to make it better, and I think a 10% change, 15%, maybe 20% would move monumental change for our GNP, make the United States the most powerful country in the world for the next 100 years. If we could find a way to take the 10 to 15% that are being left behind and take 60 to 65% and move the middle and the bottom to, the middle top and not the bottom, America will be more prosperous. And that is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the answer is give out free healthcare. I don't know if it's to give everyone a circle jerk and, a rub and a tug. Well, I don't know. But whatever it is, we need to start working towards it. And my gut fucking feeling here is that we start with the inner cities. And we start with a absolute plan. And Democrats and Republicans must get together and make it the number one focus as something that will replace as a national security concern versus the economy, which is this division in the United States, which is destroying our country, and find a way to get white businesses to stop having the railroad track mentality and move in and help these inner cities and invest their money into it and allow black people to come into their suburbs and stop the fucking segregation from a financial standpoint in this country. That's one way you do it. And you can't force people to live together, but you can at least give them the option. And Washington, D.C., creating strip malls of all black owners and all black stores owned by all black people is not what we need to fucking do. Or having all black colleges, or having all white colleges, or all white Beverly Hills. We've got to stop these imaginary lines of financial superiority in this country. The only way you're going to start doing that is have a real conversation about the disparity between one side of the tracks and the other. All you've got on those other sides of the tracks are fast food restaurants. You know that, bro. Every time you go off the fucking freeway, you drive in, and all you see, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Carl's fucking Jr., Burger King. It's like, where are these poor kids going to work? How are they going to make a living? And all the rich ones are all the way over here in the tech centers. And nobody will hire a black kid from the ghetto in a tech center. Let's be honest.
Can I say something?
Yes. I'm going to shut up because I'm going off tonight. Who's the caller? And then Amy. Who's the caller? Is it Mel?
It's Mel.
All right, Mel. Amy's going to go. You're a long timer. Let her go, and then we'll jump you in.
I'll be really quick because I think I can solve all of America's problems here. I think it goes further than just getting into the inner cities. I think we have to even dumb it down, for lack of a better term phrase there. We need to start with our education system. And that's across the board. No matter what city, town, wherever you live, the education system is failing our children egregiously. There are certain schools that kids are excelling in, and there are schools that can't pass simple tests. Yet they push these kids through because of what No Kid Left Behind. So they change the curve and push those kids through anyway. We are not giving our kids the ability to think for themselves. My kids are really young. They're too young to even think about having a job. But we talk very frankly about the options that are available to them. And, if they want to my daughter wants to be a veterinarian. I'm like, great. You need to start working now at 6 years old, because veterinarian school is extremely competitive. So no, you cannot get a bad grade, not even in kindergarten. You need to work your heart. And my daughter is a hard worker. She just is. My son, he has no idea what he wants to be. Of course not. He's a boy, and some days he wants to be an engineer, and some days he's like, just play video games. And I'm like, great. Either of those options are fabulous. I don't care what you do, but whatever it is that you want to do is going to come down to, one, your education. Do you want to go to school? How much do you want to work in school? If you don't want to go to school, that's okay too. Then you need to pick a trade and you need to learn everything you can about that. Just because you don't want to go to a 4-year university or become a doctor and go to school for 7 years, that's okay with me. But you need to find something, and you need to work towards that. You need to have good work ethic. You need to have good values. You need to have a good grasp on the money system in our country, how to invest, where to invest, how to be smart about it. It's not just the advantages of you're born on this side of the track, so you automatically get this. It doesn't matter which side of the tracks you're on.
That's not what I said.
Well, I'm just saying it should come down to education.
Just don't paraphrase me, because that's not what I said. That's all. That bothers me, because that's not what I said.
Well,
just want to make sure.
You were saying if you're born in Beverly Hills, it's you have advantages over, right? You said it's all white in Beverly Hills, right?
No, I didn't say it's all white in Beverly Hills. It's what you said. I said you have advantages if you're born in Beverly Hills versus being born in Crenshaw or Lompoc or wherever else.
I don't know anything about
it was a locational advantage.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, yes. So it doesn't matter. We have poor areas where we live. We have rich areas. Most of them are well off where we live. But there are disadvantaged people here too. And the school systems in the disadvantaged areas are actually terrible. They're horrible. And we have some of the best school systems in the nation. So I think we really need to go back to the education system. We need to rip that apart. It cannot be this government run system anymore. We need to let people who can actually educate our kids the right way. They need to learn the actual facts about our country. They need to learn how to, balance a checkbook, figure out their, accounts. They need to learn how to develop a work ethic, no matter what path they want to go on. And they need to have the support around them that will help them thrive in that arena, whatever it is. If they want to be a hairstylist, if they want to be, a jet engineer or whatever, I don't know. It doesn't matter. If they want to be a coder, but we need to give these kids options on every level, and we need to help push them in the right direction and encourage them, and not say, you can't do this because you don't have the money to go to college, so you can't achieve that. Well, that's not true. Just because your family doesn't have money doesn't mean you can't go to college. There's a way to figure it out. It might be hard, but if you want it, you got to work for it.
Yeah, I completely disagree with you in every sense of the word. And you sound like a white bread freaking chick who's had money her whole life.
No, that's
But just let you know, you've never lived in the slums. You've never lived in the hood. I have. And I just don't think you know what you're talking about when it comes to this. I love you and I care about you. And I'll take a baseball bat to anyone who says that you can't say what you just said. I'll just tell you that unless you've lived in the hood,
yeah, I've never lived in the
hood. This is Round Hill, Virginia, and Percival. This isn't Chicago. You're not literally making a decision between working at McDonald's or Burger King, or dealing crack, or getting your ass shot because you don't choose a color. I understand personal responsibility needs to be taken from a lot of these kids, but a lot of these kids grow up idolizing this culture. And I've said it before, I don't blame the child who's a terrorist. From the age of 2 months old, has been around grenades and guns and has been completely groomed to hate America. I blame the people who are involved. And when it comes to the inner city, I completely blame the parents as well. They have created a horrible culture. The patriarch, Black African American male, has left the family unit. There is a individual responsibility of the people who live in these cities to report and actually stand up against violence. Who won't do that? There are so many things wrong with the inner cities, but to say that a newborn baby moving to 16 years old and the next generation is responsible for that, I think it's horribly myopic. And I think it lacks a lot of sincerity in the diagnosis. Now, does that mean that that's bad and you're evil? No, I think you're a person who's never lived in the inner city and don't understand how fucking terrifying it is and how scary it is. And you can't just get up and move to Idaho and go, I'm going to move into Round Hill, Virginia, where everybody loves black people. That's not the way it works. You know what it's like here. And there's a lot of racism in this town still. I sat down to somebody with breakfast this morning, and the first thing they said to me is they're renaming the courthouse here in Round Hill. And I said, what? I said, yeah. And I said, well, who's going to get the name? And she says, some word that rhymes with loon. Oh, and I looked at her and said, are you fucking kidding me? What did you just say? So, and I'm not coming down on you, Amy. That's the first time I've really jumped your shit. And I just don't think that that's a very broad look at what is reality out there. These kids, man, I grew up with them, and my dad recruited them for football, and it's terrifying, man. Okay, let me just quick one. We were recruiting a kid from St. Bonaventure High School. His name was Mark Blank. We went to Mark, and Mark was poor. He lived on the east side of Ventura. He lived near Satakoy. He didn't have a lot of money. And my dad was going to have him sit down with an assistant head coach at Colorado. And it was going to be a recruitment trip. And my dad goes over to him and says, you need to get a tie and you need to get a jacket on. And Mark came in with a tie and a jacket on. And it was obviously his dad's. It was down around his fingers, his cuffs and his tie. Everything was too big. But he found one in a moment's notice. And then my dad went to a guy named Napoleon. And I'm not going to give you his last name because he was an NFL player. And we went to his house in Crenshaw, and he said, Napoleon, I need you to get a tie and a jacket. And listen to me when I say this. He said, yes, sir. Yes, yes, Mr. Rich. Yes, Mr. Rich, I will. And turned around and walked away. And then we went to go get back in the car. He says, Mr. Rich? That's what we call him, Mr. Rich. And Dad turned around. He said, yes. He goes, I don't know what a tie and a jacket is.
Yikes.
Very big. And this kid made millions of dollars playing for the Oakland Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders at the time, but did not know what a jacket and tie was and had no earthly idea how to get one. He came from the poorest of poor, most violent neighborhoods in California, one of them at the time, Crenshaw. And in his world, had no idea. So does that mean that every single case is like that? No, but what I'm trying to do is draw a parity between a white kid who was poor, who had no problem finding a jacket and a tie and knowing what to do with it, knowing how to use it, because in his life, he was raised with it, versus another kid who was incredibly smart and a great kid who had no idea because it wasn't even his vocabulary, because no one ever needed to wear a tie in his family and a jacket. It's just a different world.
You don't think that has anything to do with the education of our kids?
Sure,
I mean,
it does.
That's my
Sure
point,
it
though.
does.
We need to be educating them on everything.
Yeah, but they can't get the education. How are they supposed to get the education when the fucking schools are run by the unions, run by teachers who don't care?
I don't want that. Get rid of it.
Right, but you can't. But go ahead, Leroy.
If I may, I think what Matt is talking about is an analysis of more or less the statistical data that basically says that there's so many problems in the inner cities that it really presents a serious roadblock for the development of some of the kids to progress in life. They just aren't given the same opportunities. What I think the other half of that analysis, though, is that there's too much anecdotal evidence to basically say, look, there is the occasional football player that comes out of there that starts off with literally nothing and then eventually ends up, playing for the Minnesota Vikings. There has been a case that I personally saw, and I had reposted, of a baby who was literally left in a dumpster.
Yep.
And then revisited the guy 35 years later, and he was a multimillionaire who was the CEO of his own company. Now, and again, where those two lines intersect, the anecdotal versus the statistical, I think it really comes down to what Matt is talking about: opportunity, but also motivation and talent. For the people who are motivated and talented, there's just not enough roadblocks that will keep them from success. But yeah, I understand what you were saying, Matt. I was looking for a little bit of
I disagree with that statement. I don't, everything you said, I was so good with until the end when you said that there aren't enough roadblocks to stop success. And that is so, okay. When Amy and I take our babies into urgent care, or take them into the doctor, we're going to have a 15 to 30 minute wait. And if we send up a signal flare and she goes mama bear mode, we'll be seen fairly fast. It's different in the inner city, man. You're talking hours. And if a kid is literally, unless they're not breathing, they're not going to be seen for hours, sometimes days. It's not the same thing, because everything, unfortunate circumstances, and this is going to help me with this definition we got here. Unfortunate circumstances are things we try to avoid as white people and as people who are, have a fairly decent start in life. Unfortunate situations you learn to live with when you grew up in the inner city. There's a difference. We try to avoid, and we have the opportunity to make better decisions to avoid them. And I'm not talking about being black. I'm talking as a white kid growing up in Ventura, California, which was a very nice place on the east side. But I went to school in the hood. And when I say hood, I'm talking chain link fences, armed security guards, and shootings every day on Poli Street. Bad shit. I'm talking, if I didn't run with the gangs, I would have gotten my ass kicked. And they didn't send me to where I should have went, which was Boyna High School, which is the rich white kid school. They sent me to the other side because of busing rules and regulations to balance these schools out and bring white kids in to influence the school. Isn't that fucking racist? So understand that my point isn't that every black person, it's impossible for them to be successful. That's not even remotely what I'm fucking saying.
Right.
What I'm saying is that you know and I know that not everybody is motivated in the same way to be successful. And it's very easy to go along with the status quo, especially when that's all you see. And you're told, right? So you're inherent in this. Now, the reason I want to say this is because Ingrid said equity is equal outcome for all, regardless of merit. Equality is equal opportunity. That's not even fucking remotely what the definition is of either of those things. I don't know where you're getting that. That sounds like a Breitbart quote or fucking The Blaze. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. That's for people who don't know what equality and equity mean. And you know, Ingrid, I know it's not you. You're too smart. You didn't write that. Somebody else said that because I've heard it before and I want to bitch slap people who say it. Not you, Ingrid. Not mad at you. But that's what I hear from right-wing sites. Equality is a state of being equal, especially in status, rights, and opportunities. An organization aiming to promote racial equality. Equity is actually a derivative of the word equality. Equity is defined as the state quality of ideal of being just as important and fair. The concept of equity is synonymous with fairness and justice. It is helpful to think of equity as not simply a desired state of affairs or just a lofty value, but a necessary one. There is a difference between social equity, financial equity, and equity based upon a valuation of what you're worth. And equity is what you get in a house. When you go ahead and get from upside down to up, it's the value of your home based upon what you bought it for. The same thing in equity is what I'm talking about with the value of people.
Yeah.
And when it comes to that black kid who's trying to get a job, will have to go an hour on a bus and maybe might get a job in Thousand Oaks, California, working at the Apple store for $35 an hour, doesn't have that opportunity down in Oxnard at the time I was growing up because it was the hood and nobody wanted to be there. And he could go and sell cookies or Cinnabon at the Esplanade Mall for $6.25 an hour versus working at a high-end laboratory or a high-end retailer or whatever. They don't have that in those areas. They have fast food predominantly. That's what they've got. And grocery stores. It's not the same opportunity. And if you take away the ability to get onto a track by making the track so impossible to reach and say, well, it's over there, go get it. Well, that person has longer to run than the guy that literally gets dropped off at the station. That's my point. And that's what I mean by giving these, what Amy's saying. She wants to solve the systemic issue. I want to solve the moral issue in this. That we have a moral imperative to do more in the inner city if we want to grow as a country. And as capitalists, we should all want to see the inner cities not flounder, but flourish.
Right.
And we don't. We just want to just put our blinders on and not care.
Oh, I
It's got to stop.
think that
Yes, it
that's
does,
true.
dude. Name one politician who's made one movement in inner cities in the last 75 years. Please tell me one piece of policy that's moved people forward in the last 75 years.
Well, because what you just got done saying is that it's a moral imperative, that it's a moral issue. And it's really hard to legislate anything on a moral basis. When I was speaking before, one of my last points, and I swear I'll shut up after this, but one of the last
I'm the one
points,
that's doing all the talking. Please talk more.
one of the last points that I was going to make was it was in about I don't even know which Father's Day speech this was said on, but something that Barack Obama said. And I pulled it up while you were talking, was that, but if we're honest with ourselves, we'll admit that what too many fathers are also is missing from too many lives and too many homes. They have abandoned their responsibilities, acting like boys instead of men, and foundations of our families are weaker because of it.
Completely.
You and I know that how true this is for the African American community. We know that more than half of all Black children live in single parent households, a number that has doubled since we were children. We know the statistics that children who grow up without a father are 5 times more likely to live in poverty and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of schools, and 20 times more likely to end up in prison. So those are
it's a
to
patriarch.
Your point. It is a moral issue. The problem is when you try to legislate a moral issue, it becomes an impossibility. It tips.
That's why you don't legislate it. You don't you don't legislate the moral issue. You can't.
Right. The only thing you can do is provide equal opportunity.
Right, which there's not equal opportunity in that area, and not affirmative action is what we're talking about. When we say equal opportunity, is that's equity, guys, because that's the definition of equity. It's that everybody starts and has the ability to be successful based upon non-systemic issues that would stop them from doing that. And when you have a situation where we reward mothers for having as many babies as possible that can produce a higher income than that father can ever make unless he's slinging dope, you're going to have a situation where you create inequity. You create disparity between these areas because it's a completely different culture. It's not just the street names and the paint on the house that's different. It's what's going on inside those homes, which is different.
You said it
Go
right
ahead,
there. Culture.
Yeah. And, just to talk about my white privilege a little bit more.
I didn't say it was white privilege. Don't do that. I'm not going to let you do that.
I'm joking, first of all.
I wasn't joking. I was dead serious, and I never said white privilege. I said that you were a white-bread girl who grew up in a rich neighborhood. You did.
I didn't grow up in a rich neighborhood, but I didn't grow up poor.
According to Crenshaw, you sure did. You trivialized it.
I'm not trivializing it at all. My point is, you need to find the motivations. You need to find the people to motivate these kids in the way that they need to be motivated. Everyone's different.
Right. That's right.
And if we start with the children, small children, I mean elementary age kids, that's why I hate the teachers unions. I hate our school system.
Yes.
I think
Yes, there it is.
Completely overhauled. And I think, is it going to change in one generation? Probably not. It's going to take a long time. But if we set these kids up to succeed from the beginning in time, and yet will take time, I think our world would be 1,000% better, no matter where they live, no matter what circumstances they're born into. But if you learn how to teach these kids, give them all the options and motivate them the way that they need to be motivated, that is where the change is going to come in. And I don't care.
Right. That's right.
But that's my whole point to begin with.
But when does that? Okay, so when does Mel? You need to be able to get in here. Mel's been waiting forever. I'm going to shut up, Amy. No, Amy. Listen, we're disagreeing tonight, and that's okay. We can. Okay. I think we're trying to say the same thing. I think the only thing I'm saying is you're trying to pick the fruit before you plant the seed. I'm saying that it's the one of the major issues on this is education. But I don't care how strong our education systems are. If the home system is not right, it's not going to take. And that's where it starts at birth. It starts when the seed is planted. It starts with having family values. It's having a nest egg. It's having a home that you can provide for a child. But
if they come from a broken home and they don't have a lot, that's my point.
Now you're making my point.
You guys are trying to change
like the school systems. But I'm saying if you can't get the education at home from your parents,
hold on, Mel.
This
isn't about who's right or wrong. I'm not asking you to be a referee, Mel. Hold on, because we're not playing right or wrong here. Because Amy's right with everything she's saying. and I'm right with everything I'm saying. I think we're coming from two different timelines. She wants to jump in the middle and fix education. And I'm saying that's fine, but that's going to take 20 years. That's going to take 40 years because you have to fix the family unit first. And until you do, nothing else you do is going to matter. Go ahead, Ames. And then Melanie. Amy,
I don't
then
think
Melanie.
you can't just fix a family unit though without a good role model, without a system to model it after. And that's why we need to really cherry pick the people that are our children's lives. And I mean, I think
Why
all
don't you
three of us
why don't
here-
you clean up the streets and get the drugs and get the crime and get the gangs
love to.
out of there?
Yeah.
Well, how about in the absence of not having great role models, which I agree with you, how about you just take away the bad ones?
Great. I'm okay
That's
with
my
that.
point. This doesn't need minor surgery. This doesn't need a out of office or out of network fingernail clipping. You need transplant. You need to send in the National fucking Guard door to door in Chicago and clean it out and make it a military operation. I don't care. It has to happen. Because eventually this cancer that is the inner cities is going to spread all over the states. And it already is. It is going to eat this country apart because you can look at Sarajevo. You can look at fucking Palestine. You can look at the Congo. It eventually erodes and eats up the country. Mel, you go, and then we'll jump back on this. Amy, I like where we're at, and I think we're getting to a point. I just let Mel interject, and then I'm sure you and I will both see each other's points a little more clearly. Go ahead, Mel.
No, and actually, I totally agree with your total last statement that it's systemic, that all of this is ingrating into all of our societies. It's not just in your society, all this absolute decimation of education and family values and whatever. It's here. It's everywhere. It's in the world. Like, Matt's not wrong on all of this. And it starts in the home, and then it goes whatever. The one point I want to say is all the education in the states is not a constitutional right. It belongs to the states. So each state needs to go and reevaluate their state policies on education policies to get these kids back into schools, get all these radical religions and whatever I want to call them. Like, I'm so angry with all of this, whatever, but all these things that are poisoning all the young kids' minds, and all these teachers that are out there now that have now come out of the closet that need to be purged from the education system in each of the states. It needs to be a cleansing of all education systems throughout the states, Canada, Germany, doesn't matter where in the world. All of our education systems need to be purged of all these people that have this really horrid end state for the education and how our kids are going to be. Gays, transsexuals, like this has got to stop. And it stops at the education system, and it stops in the family home. So it goes back to grassroots. Home starts. That's where it has to stop. Families got to get back together. We got to start talking to each other, and we got to stop this shit because this is crap.
Investing in the inner city has not been tried, unless exactly what Mel said. It's the state. 5 Points, Denver, Colorado, one of the worst places ever. Deaths, shootings every night. They went in, they bought out the property, government cleaned it up, put new streets in, they charged taxes in some of the higher renovated areas in Colorado. They voted on it. Those higher areas like Cherry Creek and Highlands Ranch volunteered, took those tax dollars and renovated 5 Points because they realized that the drug epidemic was now impacting these white schools. And everybody wanted to pitch in and get involved, and they did. And now 5 Points is one of the most profitable retail and multi-dwelling unit area in Colorado. Now, Is that socialism? No. You're going to take our tax dollars anyway. You might as well fucking do something other than spending $3.5 million on a road project that should cost $600,000 and only take 6 months. You're going to take the taxes anyway. My point is that they invested in the hood, and even if they get it to be a slum, that still creates 10 times more opportunity for those kids, because a hood is not good and a slum still is shit, but it looks like Shangri-La to the person who's living in the hood. And it starts with changing. Listen, Freud said it best. If you want to know what's wrong with somebody, look at their domicile. Look where they live. Look in their transportation. Look at their workstation. And if it's a fucking mess and it's not clean and organized, then that's the state of their mind. If you want the inner city to take themselves as upstanding, serious human beings who have a future, then you've got to clean up the fucking hood. You got to get rid of the graffiti. You got to get rid of the prostitution, the crack, the influence, the fucking constant crime. Those things will make change. So yes, Amy, I agree with you. I think education is the biggest thing we can do. But until we do those other things and change the mindset, it's not going to do any good. We've tried that before. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, and so what you're talking about is, again, we're talking about trying to potentially change culture. You know, one of the things that I'm reminded of as you were talking about that, as we were talking about education, and as you were talking about forcefully going into some communities and cleaning things up a little bit.
You don't like it. I know.
Hold on. But I the moment you said that, the immediate imagery that popped in my head was the movie Lean on Me.
Yeah.
Where Morgan Freeman goes into a school, and apparently it was based on a true story.
It is based on a true story.
He goes into a school and he turns the place upside down. Goes as far as taking some of the kids who are on the bubble, who were known to have been using drugs, takes them up to the top of the school and says, "Jump. This is your chance. Because if you don't change your life here, then that's where you're going to end up, is down on the street. But this way is a whole lot faster. You're doing the same thing. Just take the the immediate plunge rather than draw it out over several years." So I get what we're saying. It's about changing culture. It's about changing education, and it's about somehow trying to find a way to give the inner city a point of pride rather than a handout.
Yes,
I understand that.
Real quick, Lean on Me, based on a true story. The one that strikes me even more, if you want to see two movies that encapsulate the American way, you need to watch American Me. If you haven't seen that, is anyone? Very few white people have seen it, and it's got the most prominent Hispanic actors in it, and it's all about the Los Angeles South Central Hispanic gangs going through the criminal system and the hierarchy of the street gangs. And it's amazing. It's one of the best movies you'll ever see. It's got, I can't remember his name. The guy in Battlestar, he's got a huge Hispanic actor. He's an James Edward Stamos or whatever. I don't know. I'm too tired. But
American Me?
Yeah, American Me. That's one of the best ones you can watch. And it's got the same actor in the next movie that I would tell you. And can you please give me his name?
I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, I know this guy. I gotta find his name.
Edward
James Almost.
Yeah, Edward James Almost. I said John Stamos. God, I'm fucking tired. So Almost is in that. And there's another movie, which I can't remember the name, but you look it up. But it talks about the inner cities, and he's a math teacher. And the kids are at go ahead.
Such a good movie. I can't think of the name of it.
Kids are at rudimentary level skills, like fourth grade, and he essentially teaches them calculus and trig. And over a year or two, all these kids just fucking nail this test. And federal government comes in and goes, "You guys are cheating. How did you get the codes?" Because you're a Mexican school. And he's like, "Hey, you fucking assholes. I work my ass off and I help these kids, and then they retake the tests. If you want to show the parallels between failure and success in America, as far as the Hispanic communities predominantly, and that movie,
exactly,
and you will understand what I'm saying, is that it's going to take somebody, a patriarchal figure, to monumentally change the structure. And the only people who, and I hate to say it, but this is the new Christian door knocking of today, is bringing the word of God to non-Christians, is you need to bring the word of the patriarch and matriarchal system when everything in the inner city is designed to destroy it. You've got to teach them the family unit, because that is exactly what the inner cities are trying to kill. Because single mothers and single fathers are dependent upon the government, and it's what Democrats want is people to stay under the Democratic umbrella. Sure. And if you don't believe that that's true, then how come that's the fucking result after 75 years of Democratic policies in all of these cities? Why is it not changing? If they truly care, either A, they're inept, or B, they're making it fucking happen. Either one is unacceptable to those kids in those inner cities. That's my point. Stand and Deliver is the name. And yes, that is a great fucking movie.
Love that movie.
And that is a true story.
That is a true story.
And it's a true story. It happened. But it shows you, one is taking these kids and turning them, and they're a bunch of gangbangers and drug addicts and prostitution. One's pregnant. And these kids fucking get the highest scores in California and nail calculus and trig. And nobody thought it was possible. But the way that he taught one person,
he cared about those kids, because he cared about the kids. That's it. He motivated them.
Well, and that's the difference. That's the change. That's the little tweak that Matt is talking about that needs to happen at a cultural level. Real quick, I just wanted to say, Matt, I'm sorry if I in any way inflamed you. It's just that I was trying to really kind of digest what you were saying.
You engorged
I wanted
me.
to make
what the fuck? Shut up.
I didn't say engorged. That's different. I can do that. I can do that with my hemispheres up here. What I'm
Hey, and Amy, when you start to try to apologize to me here, this is preemptive.
I'm not going to apologize.
I'm not going to fucking apologize to you.
I'm not. Because I don't feel like I need to. I mean,
no,
we
you
can
don't.
Disagree. Yeah,
not in this room. This is what it's designed to do, and I love you both. No,
I love you guys too. I don't feel like there's any. Like, we're all good, right? Yeah.
What I wanted to make sure was happening was that I was correctly understanding you, and I was trying to make sure that in my re-explanation back to you, I was going to say, "Do I have that right?"
Yeah, you do.
So now
you do.
And so now that I think I have kind of re-listened to that, I just wanted to say I'm sorry if I pissed you off. That's all.
No.
Okay, first of all, you never ever need to apologize because you're not pissing me off.
Oh, well, great. Fuck you then.
Hey, buddy.
No, and I love you, bud. The second thing is that mother of pearl. So I would rather have you challenge me than sit here and agree with everything. And I know how you feel when I use the word equity. It makes you cringe because you've been trained. They hijack the word. And that's what pisses me off, and it's unacceptable.
Sure, I think what's happened is we have so many really right-leaning outlets that basically turn the word equity into a definition of equal outcome.
That's not true. That's a complete fallacy.
But that's what's being put out there in the mainstream
outlets. No, that's what's being put out there by the right.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's
exactly what I said.
But you say the media. The media isn't the right. The media is not the right.
I meant mainstream right media. That's.
I'm talking to Amy. You're talking to me, Leroy. I'm talking to Amy.
Oh, I got it.
I was responding what she said.
That's what I
Listen,
because I agree.
I don't want to sound like a liberal here, folks, but I am socially liberal. Yeah. And most people should be, because classic liberalism was the same way. You should want to take care of your fellow man. Nobody should want African Americans dying by the rate that they're dying. You shouldn't want to see the drug epidemics that are happening to African Americans. You don't want to see the COVID rates because obviously it's not that it impacts black people more. That's what they tell you. It's that the healthcare system for black people isn't as good. Either is the food, either is the healthcare, all of that shit. It's just unfair. And I'm not saying that personal accountability isn't a lot of this, because it fucking is. But you gotta understand, man, when I went to school with a knife in my pocket that wasn't designed to whittle wood. It was to protect my life. That's very different than what our kids have to deal with. And they're not going to school expecting to get shot. That's just a little bit different. And it changes your ability to take things seriously a little more. And somebody has to clean this shit up. It's just, and I'm not saying we have to send the National Guard in to get into fucking war with these kids. What I'm saying is that you know who the worst of the worst are. And you know how to get them. We've done it before. Mm-hmm. And if you have to get ICE involved, I don't care, but we need to go and take these real bad ones out by any means necessary with extreme prejudice, because honestly, it's not that they're going to get people killed. They're getting people killed every single day. They need to be taken out of society. And I know that's a fine line, and I know it's dangerous, and I know it sounds authoritarian. I don't know. Let me ask you a question. If we had an Leroy, if we had an ISIS cell in the middle of Minnesota, would you be worried about authoritarianism, or would you say eradicate it from the fucking city?
If we had an ISIS cell in the middle of the city, would I say go ahead and invade it and eradicate it, or
eradicate it, eliminate it? Black bag it, tag it, bound it, get it out. Man, woman, and child. Anyone, find the houses they're involved in, sweep it, black bag that whole fucking place.
It's a little bit of a complicated matter, right? Because the first thing, you can't look at it from a U.S. soldier point of view, because now you're talking about U.S. citizens. I would say investigate, look for evidence, introduce said evidence into what's the court hearings where they find out if something can be tried? A grand jury.
Oh, I'm sorry, grand jury.
Yeah, and then take it from there.
No, what you do is the moment you find ISIS propaganda or property or communication, you slap a domestic terrorist on them and you fucking black bag the whole house. Drugs and gangs need to be classified as domestic terrorists. I don't care.
Real quick, just to throw this out there, because I wanted to give Matt a kudos here. I went ahead while we were just sitting here and Googled the word equity definition. Number one, and again, this is Google, so who knows? This could have changed. I don't know. But it does say the quality of being fair or impartial.
That's it.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. I listen, I don't want J. Edgar Hoover. I don't want.
No, nobody wants that.
But in these inner cities, you know what it took to clean up some of these places in Afghanistan, some of these places in Iraq, you know. And it wasn't a kind word. Yes, there were, we brought ice cream. And yes, we went into some cities and it was done with love and the American dream. And the other ones were with the American hammer. And in the inner city, it is so far gone, you are never going to rehabilitate it. You have got to take out the gang elements from these cities, and you have to eliminate them with extreme prejudice and get them off the streets. Period.
Yep.
It's the only way to do it. It's the only way. This is just like Kabul, man. This is just like any other place we've been. This is a war. And if we're afraid to send American military in there, then that should be all we need to know. This is the United States of America, man. If we have places that are hotbeds that we're more worried about going into there than places like Kosovo.
Good night, Maureen.
And the gangs, you're not going to win.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary. All right. Well, listen, I can't think. I'm so glad we didn't talk about a stupid device over Alaska. Let's do it quickly and then we'll get off of here.
Yeah, you sound terrible now. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Leroy, no, and I
I
will
don't mean
say,
sorry as in like,
I got it.
I know you're not
sorry.
apologizing to me, and I'm not going to apologize for calling you a white princess because that was just me being
That's what I
a
meant.
dick. I'm sorry for that. That was
No.
wrong. You're not a
I didn't take it as a dick
privilege.
thing. I didn't. Can I just defend you for that? Because
Okay.
no, because you know what? First of all, I can take it. 1, 2, you don't come at me often. So when you do, I shut up and listen because it's important because I think you and I agree on most things.
We
So
do.
when you're like, I disagree with you, then that's why I was like, okay. I listened to get more information.
That's
I
why I
do
love
think
you.
we mostly agree. I think we disagree on some things, but I think the bigger picture we do actually agree,
We
which
do.
is kind of
We
gross
do.
that we always
Sure.
agree. But yeah, I think our end game is the same. We want the same in the end. I think
Yes.
our starting points are we disagree on that point. I don't know.
Just let's
whatever.
do it with the least amount of government control and influence that we can, number one.
Right.
And number
Right.
two,
100%.
Chav said something great, which I know it's Chav, so you can stop pretending, dude. He said Peace Corps in the cities, ?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's stop sending the Peace Corps out. We have real need here.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the only thing that's going to help these inner cities, and this is this is my 1 minute, is that the major difference between the two are this. You have to sell the word of God, which used to be one of the most important things in the inner city, over the word of free shit by selling your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can somehow change that narrative, I think you can take the inner cities back. But it starts with the patriarch and matriarch. It starts with loyalty to the family. It starts with getting rid of government pay to destroy families. But you've got to get the white businesses to get in there. And somebody said, hey, I don't want the drugs and I don't want, hold on. Oh, I'm sick, babe. Come on. You look cute.
Yeah, you need to
Well,
go
that's
to bed.
probably not going to happen
I love
if any business, any prospective business is eyeballing us about trying to put together a business plan and they found out that they're going to lose money in their first couple of years just simply due to, loss, a lack of foot traffic or loss. So I don't know. That's a tough argument to make, but I do see what you're saying is that unless those businesses get back in there and unless some businesses open from within, that the people that reside in those neighborhoods aren't going to have any place to work and they would have to truck it several miles outside in order to even gain employment. I understand.
You have to incentivize those businesses to go in there. I have put retail just let me finish.
You gotta call it.
I will when I'm done. You can go. I'm not leaving.
No, I feel bad for you.
Give me 5. Just give me make my point. I have put. See, here's the thing. The difference about me is that the reason why I was successful in retail and I moved up so quickly in every company I've ever worked for is because I told them to send me to places like Bakersfield, send me to Phoenix, send me to Houston, send me to Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's where I've worked. I've worked where the danger is. Bakersfield, look it up. Look up Albuquerque. I worked on West Florida Street in Denver. Are you fucking kidding me? So I can back it up because I've worked in the hood my entire life and I've lived there and those are my friends and family and I can walk down any street in America and I will not get fucking robbed. And I am confident of that. Yeah. Because I grew up
with you.
But what I'm trying to tell you is that when I came into those neighborhoods, I would change those neighborhoods because I would hire those kids and I would teach them through tough love. You steal from me, I'm going to fucking fire you. You don't show up, I'm going to fucking fire you. You bring drugs into my store, I'm going to fucking fire you. But if you don't, I'm going to get you promoted. I'm going to give you a career and I'm going to get you your own store. And I did that. And not only did I get those 13 stores in Northern Arizona, I got the 26 in Southern Arizona and ran them all. And when every one of those stores closed, I made sure every one of those kids got a job. There has to be somebody who cares. There has to be somebody that goes, I am not from this neighborhood, but I'm going to go in there and work because I know I can be an influence. And yes, it's scary. A kid walked outside of my front door at Game Crazy with a PS3 or a PS2, and they shot him in the head and took it from him. That's the neighborhood I worked in.
I get it.
It's not an excuse. It's something you don't, and somebody said that earlier. Oh, it's an excuse. I'm not making excuses. I've seen what they're going through. And to say that just work harder.
Right.
That's not the answer. Because trust me, some of these kids work their fucking ass off and they still take a bullet in the throat. There's my 1 minute. Mel,
Liv?
goes to you. Mel, goes
Liv,
to
can you bring Matt in a cup of water?
I
Can
got
you do
water
that
right
for him?
here. Water ain't gonna fix it. I'm going hoarse. I told you guys I was sick.
Need a hot toddy.
All right, go for it. Mel, you go, then Amy.
Matt, I sympathize or not sympathize. I recognize your courage and your tenacity and your endeavors to change all of our lives, and I can't thank you enough for listening to all of us and reacting to all of our crazy whatever. But yes, goes back to education and family, and that's where it all will go back to at the end of all of this game. I love you, and you guys
Love you
all
too,
take
buddy.
care.
You're the best,
thank you,
Mel.
Mel.
I love you,
She's
Mel.
So cool.
Love Mel.
So
Absolutely.
cool.
She's one of my. I've never met her. I've never had like a one-on-one personal conversation, but I feel like I really have a strong, deep
Me too.
respect and love for her. Like she's amazing.
Me too.
Love her.
There's a male version of Mel who I want you to meet. His name's Mike, and maybe we can go to breakfast this weekend or something. But I want you to meet him. And I've talked about him all the time, and he's always watching the show.
Your neighbor.
But he didn't feel good today, man, and I got worried. And like he's like my dad, and when he goes, I'm gonna be a disaster because I love this old man like no other. But reminds me a lot of Mel, and I've tried to get Mike on the show, but he knows who he is, and I adore the guy. But anyway, Amy, it's your 1 minute. Then I'm gonna give it to Leroy.
My 1 minute. I don't even know where to start. First of all,
That's your white privilege. That's why.
it's my white prince. Would you call me white princess? I didn't. Sorry, I said white privilege.
I said you're a rich white princess.
I'm a rich white princess.
Big chungus. Yeah. Bruh, big chungus.
Look, as a rich white princess, I have my own struggles, and I would like to talk about them now. No, I'm totally being.
I'm such a dick. It was a horrible thing to say. I shouldn't have said it. I'm sorry.
Please stop. How dare you? Please don't hate when you apologize to me, because if you ever do offend me, and I don't think you ever have. I don't think I've ever been like, oh my gosh, why would he say that to me? I don't think I've ever been offended by you, or anyone else on the show, to be honest. Maybe the person who said they didn't like me and they didn't even know me. They're just like, I don't like Amy just because she's Amy.
Yeah.
And I was like,
she's
oh,
pretty. Fuck her.
Yeah. I was like, oh,
Bullshit.
well, that's give me a reason. Anyway, I don't really have a minute. I really, I enjoyed the conversation tonight. I don't like that you apologized because you're entitled to feel the way you are. And I didn't take it as an offensive comment in any way.
I didn't mean it like that. I was just trying to shut you up.
Yeah, I'm always here to learn. Maybe my delivery is not the best. Which I
you're
get
fine.
that. So it's not.
No, it's not that. It's just I take it personal because I grew up in that neighborhood. I just
and we all
that's all.
go by our lived experiences. I will say this really quick. So you just made me think of this. I don't like to put my religion on other people. I do talk about it. I am very faith driven. I don't know if it's the word, but I believe in God and I believe in serving God. And I'm not a perfect Christian or Catholic by any stretch. But I do attempt to live my life to serve God and do right by what is written in the Bible and His Word. And I think if more people did live their life that way, we would have less just evil criminality, cheating, stealing, drug, you name it. We would have so much less
I
of that.
agree.
And I
I
think,
agree.
yeah, I mean, but I'm religious and I'm spiritual in the same right. I believe in God and I do the ritualistic practices of my faith, the ones I'm allowed to do. So I know people don't like religion, and I think a lot of people are against it, and I can respect that to a certain point. But I think if we brought God back into a lot of things, I do believe we would have a better world if people were not living
I
for
agree.
themselves and living
I
for
agree.
our Creator and being, just saying. That's my 1 minute tonight, talking about Jesus
You're not a
again.
rich white princess. You're not a
I'm
rich white
poor,
princess.
but I am
You're
still
awesome. And I listen, you know what? It doesn't matter. I love you. Leroy,
Man,
go.
I love you guys. I love you guys.
I am invoking my rich white princess
Prince.
advantages.
Can't be
Advantages. It doesn't matter. I identify the other way now, Amy. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're a
Don't
wizard.
misgender me.
You're a sorceress, not a wizard.
I'm kidding, folks. listen, I think at
You
the
are
end of the
fake
day-
news.
I think at the end of the day, all three of us, as we present ourselves, we basically, we all have the same goals in mind, right? We all want the same things. The probably the minor differences between a lot of us is just the steps and how we get there, which is not dissimilar, right? From the Republican versus the Democrat Party. We mostly want the same things. We just differ in how we're going to get there. That being said, I love these people. Love these people. And I cringe every time there's even the hint of impropriety, and I completely get it though. And something I wanted to add, Matt, you and I, we don't come from dissimilar worlds. I think I've
very
told you this
similar.
before.
Yeah.
I've told you this before. I used to work in retail,
Yep.
and it was for an auto chain, and I
Mhm.
used to work in 2 inner city stores that were bad. I mean bad, but bad to the point where you had to take out the giant iron poles that are actually handles so you could roll down the metal safety gate in the mornings and roll it up, in this kind of thing. There were I'm not joking. There were bullet holes on the outside of the store, and we kept trying to figure out when we were going to get corporate to come by and patch those up. I've worked with all black crews, and I was the odd man out. And so you'd think that that was something that was like, this terrifying thing, but I never really, no,
Yeah.
I love these people. And it was one of these things where they would throw, when it was like that indoctrination, like the Navy folks give each other,
Yep.
all
Yep.
armed forces, basically. Like Matt and I go back and forth about who's got a bigger dick or whatever it is. The point is,
we don't
that-
go back and forth. You do.
the point is,
I'm aware. I already know the answer.
I get it.
I'm gonna get one surgically fashioned. So mine
You've
will
got
be bigger.
Jason. You got Jason. That's big enough.
My point
Go ahead,
is
Leroy.
that when I
According
was
to you.
working in these stores, that a lot of those same types of banter would evolve, and they would say, "Oh, hey, is that white boy working today?" And I would hear comments like that, and so you'd think, "Oh my God, that's so racist." But yeah, I didn't care. You have to
Yeah.
have thicker skin than that, folks. And
Right.
so my point to that story was just that you and I have worked in very, very similar areas.
Yep.
And I do know the struggles that you're speaking of. I know what we're talking about because I've seen the homeless people and hookers and people who are jonesing come in and out of the store and walk by the store, and you feel horrible for them, and you wonder what their opportunities were like. You wonder what the choices were that landed them in the spots for which they live in, and how many of them just through happenstance or oppression or poor choices, whatever it is. How was it that they ended up in a point in their lives where they're now living in a cardboard box in the alley? I get that.
Yeah.
And your heart bleeds. Your heart bleeds for these people. Nobody wants to see that. In a perfect world, we would all have houses and we would all be making our Lexus payments. But
yeah, but
people
that's
make different.
That's a Republican talking point.
Well, no, but
that's not the cure. But come on.
No, but what I'm saying is to really appreciate this country, one would have to not only appreciate, but recognize and appreciate the diverse choices that people can make. And, at the end of the day, some people were certainly forced into their situations. And when we were talking before about slaves and slavery and CRT, one of the blinks that I had in my mind, because that's how my mind works, is that the fact that we had talked about this on the show before, that there are more slaves today working in human trafficking in the sex industry than at any point in history. So your heart absolutely goes out, and you wish that government would step in and put an end to some of this shit, that you wouldn't see people who are being forced into selling their bodies, so that they could make, payments at the hotel for which they're staying. I get that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answers are, and I don't know that anybody does. I think it's a big ask to say that a relatively small group of people will have the answers for all of society.
Well, no, and all right, that was more than a minute. And I got to address one thing, and then I'll just put a bow on that fucker. You can't say, I really wish everyone had a Lexus and a house, because I think that's very flippant. How about that they can walk to school without getting shot? Is that okay? How about having food? I think
the connotation there was that
I understand, but a lot of people think, well, I've got mine and this is my happiness. A lot of those guys and girls would just be happy not to hear gunshots every fucking night in their neighborhood. And that is something you can do tomorrow. Real simple. It's real fucking easy. You bring in the National Guard and you make it a national emergency, and you clean up these fucking cities, and you send the message. And if you think a bunch of gangbangers are going to go toe to toe and fucking die for their territory, they'll fucking shit themselves the moment that they meet one M4 and one properly trained Marine or soldier who know how to use it. These kids need help, and we're losing tens of thousands of black youth for no reason. And I don't fucking care what color they are. It doesn't bother me, but that's the problem. And that's why we need to integrate into their society, because we don't care, because it's not a problem we see. But if it was happening outside of our door, you're damn right, we'd be calling the police and getting it fixed. It's out of sight, out of mind. And I think we need a little bit, Republicans, man, we're so myopic sometimes. We forget that we have inequities and flaws. And one of them is that we go, well, black people, that's a Democrat problem. And that's unfortunate. That's all.
It's a human problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of problems, have you noticed anything crazy happening near not specifically your neighborhood, but down near like Evening Star? Have you noticed anything weird? Because you should check some of the message boards and stuff. I'll send you. There's been a lot of mostly women being targeted, usually running by themselves or walking dogs by themselves.
What the fuck?
It's been a white van and like a white SUV. And,
what are they doing? Heckling, calling, trying to take them?
Following. And it's been reported a couple times lately. And I don't know what's being done about it yet, but I've heard this not from the deputy sheriff's department. I've heard this from actual moms that live in that neighborhood right there that I'm very close friends with. And it's happened to one of my very closest friends, personally to her, and her husband is a officer.
God.
And
Well,
yeah. So I didn't know if you heard anything. I was just because that's been like literally like every other day in the last week and a half. It's been like, has anyone reported this? Has anyone noticed this?
no, I'm gonna
So
make sure Olivia's carrying her piece.
yeah, just
I,
because it's
I
literally a half a mile from your house. So I don't
yeah,
know.
no, I trust me. I'm constantly aware. One of my neighbors, quickly, I'm sorry, then we're done.
Yeah.
One of my neighbors, he lost both of his legs in Afghanistan. And I can't go into a lot of detail. He's very hush hush and still actively involved as a contractor. But his wife wanted to come over and drop off cookies, and they were with, some of the people we have breakfast with. And they drove up to the side of my house, which there's an open country road, and then there's like, I don't know, 25 yards of grass to get to my property, or you've got to go all the way around, and then you got to go up my tarred driveway, which is like a 75-yard driveway. And they drop her off, and they go, we'll just go run up there and drop off the cookies at Matt's door. And she's like, I ain't running across Matt's fucking lawn. I'm going to get my ass shot. Yeah. And you go drive me up and I'll walk around. And they're like, it's like 10 degrees outside. She's like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. So I'm always that way around my house. But Olivia, I worry about her when she goes out. So
yeah. I will
anyway,
say, my car, but I still drive really slow up your driveway just to make sure it's my car.
You guys don't understand. I know you're coming bdon't you even get there with my cameras, and I would never
I know,
shoot.
that's what I mean. But I just want you to see my license plate and see that, oh, that's Amy's car. I don't want to get shot either. Just saying.
Yeah.
I always
you guys
take
are crazy. I haven't shot anybody. Amanda has the last.
And I go up the driveway. I take the corner slow, and I make sure I go really slow up your
So
driveway.
bad.
I drift all over that.
Your camera as I'm getting out of my car.
I have a reputation in this town, and I tell you what, I wouldn't hurt a fly. Amanda has last comment of the night. Says it's crazy how these predators get a slap on the wrist and are free to offend again and again. Once you've charged with a crime against a man or a woman or a child, you need to be convicted and never let out.
I agree.
Amanda, I think it depends on the crime, but I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. And that's the first time I think I've ever agreed with something you've said. And Karen said the same thing. She's like, wow, I actually agree with Matt tonight. Well, hey, hell freezes over once in a while. And Amanda, I just want to commend you on not having something that was inflammatory and trying to piss off the crowd, but actually just making a statement that just completely makes sense. I agree with you. I think we arrest people for the wrong things in this country, and we fail to properly arrest the people who truly do the worst type of things. And that's
it's because our politicians get paid to just pass more and more laws.
Right. I know,
and the laws just, yeah.
It's bullshit.
Anyway,
folks, do me a favor. We'll go out with Veteran Crisis Hotline like we always do. Stop by thedumbshow.com. Go pick up yourself a shirt, a hat. There's a lot of good stuff there. And I'll be getting some more shirts done too. Amy, I adore you. Leroy, it's always so good to have you guys. I love this show. I hope we can continue to get it. Friday nights are always tough, and it was good to see, a little bit on. We had almost 200 on the other night, which was great. And it's good to know that if something happens in the world that's super serious, people come to this show to watch it. So that means a lot to me. So just keep sharing, keep liking, keep subscribing. And thank you both for being here. I love you. You guys are awesome as always.
I love you too. And I did watch your show. I just didn't comment, but I did watch it.
How'd you like
it? That's it. I'm out clearly.
You're leaving. Clearly. You're out. Peace.
No, I actually watched it twice because it was really, I just had a lot of questions the first time I watched it, and then I had to do some research, and then I watched it again, and I just couldn't dispute anything you said, Matt. So I just, totally agree with you.
No, it's fine. I think,
no, I'm serious.
I honestly don't know. It very well could be the United States. It could be the United States. I just severely doubt it.
I don't know. I just don't see it.
I would be highly dubious of that.
Me too. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It's just not beneficial for the United States to. It just doesn't make any sense.
There's too much. There's too much risk on our part had that factoid gotten out, and there's not enough of an advantage upon mission success. It doesn't balance correctly.
Right. Yeah. Anyways. That's it. I love you guys.
I'm drawing a blank.
We're heading out.
Veterans Crisis
I
Hotline.
keep prolonging it. Yeah, Veteran Crisis. Oh, I love
No,
the new
I
Veteran
can't
Crisis.
because my entire display is gone.
Oh, we can just say it. Like,
I can do it.
whole time. Do
No,
it.
hold on a second, guys. This is serious. This is a lot of fucking work.
Yeah, but Leroy can pull it up on his side, right? I'm
not
gonna
worried about
learn that.
yet.
I'm gonna learn
not
how to do that
worried
one day too.
about that. Hold on, please.
Do you want me to do it?
No, I want you to shut the fuck up for a second. Thank you.
All right.
And because I'm losing my shit because I just lost all my work is gone. And I don't understand why. What happened? Hold on, guys. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I lost all my overlays and all my slides. Everything's gone. It's just gone. There's nothing here. This is the weirdest damn thing. Well, and sorry I said shut the fuck up. I didn't mean that. I just shut the fuck up. We'll just go out like we always do, I guess, and just do it verbally while I'll try to figure this out. So go ahead, Leroy.
I got it. Folks, let's go out like we always do with the Veterans Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Press the number 1. 22 veterans a day commit suicide. It's too many. It's too many, folks. Do me a favor and reach out to a veteran. Start that dialogue with them. PTS, traumatic brain injury, anxiety, and depression are all very real, and veterans need your help. One phone call can make that difference. Please, when you encounter a veteran, let them know that we appreciate their prior efforts and let them know that the world is a better place with them in it. If they do need to call, the call is 100% free, 100% anonymous, and you'll never be reported to your duty station. If you're a civilian, you can make that call and they will get you into the hands that you need. They'll give you a point in the right direction. If you need help making that call, you can get a hold of myself, Amy, or Matt, and we will help make that phone call with you. Folks, that's all we have for tonight. The Don't Unfriend Me show is presented to you by our favorite head dummy in charge, Matthew Spear.
Who's completely pissed.
Who's completely pissed right now and is begging, pleading with everyone to swing by his store, pick up some swag. He's got shirts, he's got coffee, he's got mugs. They're all for sale, hats. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Smash that like button. And I hope everyone has a great night.
Wow, that was amazing, Leroy. I will just say also stop by Personal Flags and get yourself. I gotta lower my flag. Yeah, I gotta lower my flag so you can see it better. I took off my other sign, so not to be awful.
Yeah. I'm gonna pop smoke because I got to go now figure out why about 15 hours worth of work, all my templates are gone.
Probably just need to be restarted.
God, I hope so. I'm telling you, because if I got to redo it again, I'm gonna fudge. Listen, everybody, good night. Thanks for watching. I'll probably see you this weekend. Almost 2,000 likes, 1,000 loves. Good stuff. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. And go watch last night's episode, the recorded one about Nord Stream 1 and 2. That one's doing really slow. I don't know if it's being throttled or what.
No.
So
such a good show. I watched it twice.
Slow.
So.
It's slow.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's got like less than 100, which is usually my shows do 1,000. It's weird.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everybody. Appreciate you. Love you. Thanks, you too. Talk
Love
to
you
you
guys.
soon. Bye-bye.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you, guys. Bye.